The stardate is 60182.1. Over the 17 days since the return of the U.S.S. Achilles and the Quexa attack upon Narinja Station, punctuated by a nuclear super torpedo attack, the Narinja fleet has been busy defending their station and forged a ceasefire between the Klingon Empire and the Quexa storm chasers. With the Klingon Empire embroiled in a succession war after the disappearance of Chancellor Martok, the ceasefire talks are the best the Federation can barely manage to do to stave off the scourge of war from the region. Captain Penn, for his part, has been lobbying Starfleet Command for additional starships to be assigned to the fleet to prepare for the growing tensions and the demands the station has gained. However, at each turn, the Fifth Fleet is favored for its peacekeeping duties along the Romulan and Klingon frontiers. In this time of two empires resolving their domestic and foreign wars, Admiral Trailblazer of the 10th Expeditionary's Auxiliary Research and Development Fleet has summoned Captain Pend for a vital mission for him and his crew.
I like how the concentration just increased so he didn't misspeak.
Mm-hmm. You got it, man.
Yeah. Performance mode.
And somewhere in here, there it is. Boop. Captain Pend, on your way to the conference room to meet up with Admiral Trailblazer, one of many aboard the station.
One of many Admiral Trailblazers? Oh no.
No, one of many conference rooms, you smartass.
He can duplicate himself, don't you know?
I mean,
time travel.
I mean, technically he could with time travel.
One thing I can tell you as well, Pend, is that the station over the last few days had been repairing itself and doing various medical duties to attend to the injured and people who had radiation poisoning and the like. But by this point, after 17 days, the station's righted itself again.
Yeah, I think once we got back and saw the state of the station, we probably the crew would have had to have deal with temporal affairs.
Yeah.
First and foremost, but yeah, I would have authorized the crew to have some leave because they went through a lot for an extremely short amount of period.
Are you meeting with Admiral Trailblazer by yourself? He didn't say you had to meet him by yourself, but he summoned you in particular.
I'll turn up by myself unless anyone else wishes to accompany me.
Oh, for the record, it's a one-threat game for the recording. If that wasn't already obvious.
Alright.
Does anyone else wish
I
to
wasn't
talk
here.
with the strange person in the strange room?
I think I'm good. Just because I'm still kind of catching up on what happened.
Fair enough. I'll just chime the door.
The door opens as you approach it.
Well, head on in. Rear Admiral.
Trailblazer looks over at you, and his eyes give you a hint that he seems puzzled that you called him by a lower rank than he is. He's a full admiral.
I thought he was a Rear Admiral.
No. You're thinking of Grennan.
No, then that's just a me misspeak then.
Yeah. I thought you were trying to antagonize him. It's like, what? Why?
No, that was a legitimate brain fart.
Okay, so Admiral, you say.
Yeah, Admiral.
Captain.
I
Kind of puts a hand on one of the chairs, but kind of stays standing.
I assume this is important for you to call me out of nowhere.
I have recently gained authorization from Starfleet Command to temporarily take command over the U.S.S. Achilles. He then grabs a pad that's on the table and hands it over to you. Your orders, Captain.
I'll pick it up and go over them.
When you read the pad, it seems that the U.S.S. Achilles is ordered to transport one Admiral Trailblazer to the star system Alcara, located on the opposite end of the Shackleton Expanse.
So we've been redeployed for a delivery job? With a smirk on his face.
Trailblazer's mercurial eyes swirl for a second in amusement, and he kind of shrugs. Well, now that you have discovered how my people encountered Starfleet and the Federation, and based on your activities with both the Aldemona and my evaluation of Starfleet as a whole, I believe it is about time that the Federation enter into formal negotiations with the Alcaran and Aldemonan peoples.
And you want me there?
The Achilles is the best suited ship for a deep space Pathfinder mission. The course I can set for you into the computer will allow you to get to the proper destination. However, due to restrictions of galactic law, I'm unable to detail the journey there. I can simply program it into your computer and you have to get there. So when we encounter various star systems and hazards, it will require the skills of a Starfleet trained crew rather than a bunch of civilians or some random alien civilization I encounter to get me there. Not the least of which, the Shackleton Expanse is, as you have no doubtedly learned, is full of both people willing to say hello and people willing to shoot you for having the wrong color of hull. So we also need a ship that is able to defend itself readily. Never mind the fact that the Achilles is one of the few recognized hull patterns within the PDF of Alcarans as well as the Aldemonan migrant fleet.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or something to be worried about.
For my people, you have little to worry about. The Aldemonan, well, you have yet to earn their ire quite yet. Though they have been spending the last 5 years contending with Starfleet, Klingon, and Romulan ships. It will take quick wits and quick words to assure them that the ship of the Achilles is not a Tripolity vessel. Though
yeah.
that should be fairly easy since they don't have any Achilles-class ships, so that adds to our credibility.
Well, I mean, we did once fall into subspace to rescue the Carrack and was fired upon by the Aldemona.
Yes, they are a impulsive people, very quick to defend what they believe to be theirs.
Yeah, we've noticed. But if this opening of negotiations can get us at least access to a copy of galactic law, then it should make negotiations with both parties at least clearer for the future.
Enter in access code Beta 2 Gamma. Trailblazer. He waves his hand as like, oh, obviously that's the name it's under.
Yeah, I'll type in.
You find the Codex Legis Galacticae as received by one Commander Varder.
I see he's been busy as usual.
You had seen the financial advisor of House of Gitta purchased a copy and Varder was able to get himself a copy for himself, along with various other technology, but the less that I look into that, the better for the Federation it is. I've already advised him to leave the matter lie unless he wishes to alienate any chances or endanger any chances of a peaceful resolution with my people and the Aldemonans.
I believe the weapons were already not included in that.
Yeah.
But luckily he's not a complete idiot, so he'll probably would abide by that.
It's the Klingons I'm worried about, but again, that is something I am going to charge Commander Varder with dealing with, and not you. Your solution is a bit surprising to say. It is too blunt for a Klingon problem.
Oh, I'm the blunt object.
You're the captain of one of the most heavily armed Pathfinder ships in the fleet. And you know that you are unable to out-bellow a Klingon. You'd have to fight them first. We need someone who looks unthreatening at first, but still has some reputation within the Klingon annals.
Well, as long as he can get the job done, I don't see much of an issue.
Hopefully we can get Captain Worf to assist us with all this, but again, that has become no longer my issue. That is someone else's problem, and something we have to leave behind.
Well, regarding mission, I find no issues with the orders. It's just, are you sure you don't want a rear admiral or a dedicated Starfleet diplomat to take point?
You have the most familiarity with Aldemonan and Alcaran affairs outside of myself. Grennan, as much as I would love to bring him, is tied down trying to keep the Kuwaksa from going to war with the Klingons or us. They are very upset about their gods being murdered and the massive subspace pothole that the Klingons punched into the universe. So, never mind the fact that we also have a Klingon province that has been established. So there's all that rigmarole. And if there's anyone who's willing to deal with a bunch of feuding, manipulative, small-minded lordlings, Grennan's the perfect man for the job. I pull him away from here, we have a war in our hands. And as for any other shit, I won't be able to pull a sovereign class. As important as I am, Starfleet is unwilling to give me access to a sovereign class, given the fact that I'm a lone officer, ultimately. And as for Parliament classes, much as they make great diplomatic ships, they are dedicated to... He gestures to let you fill in the blank, which, no role. You know that between the Romulans and the Klingons, every other diplomat in the fleet's basically tied down.
Well, as it stands, I'll do my best. I mean, on the trip there, if you're willing to share any unofficial insights that may help, I'd be more than welcome, but if not, I'll make do with being me.
I will be regularly holding lectures aboard your vessel to prepare the crew for the sort of technological challenges ahead. The Book of Galactic Law is very specific on what exactly I'm allowed to reveal. However, if it's something Starfleet already knows about, then I can talk about it all I want. But if it's something Starfleet has yet to understand or encounter, I can't say anything.
Ah, my favourite. Just vague enough to be a pain in the ass.
It's made my career very difficult and has made conversations with Starfleet intelligence tedious and annoying, no matter how many decades have gone by.
I thought that was just Starfleet intelligence.
Try being an outsider trying to working on the inside. Swear they think I'm a changeling waiting to jump at them and steal all their secrets. Waves his hand.
Well, I mean, they just do like a shrug. But do we have a specific date for shove off?
I'm going to give your ship 2 weeks furlough for now. You guys have been very busy for the last few days. I'd rather your crew was able to get its affairs in order before we try to circumnavigate the Shackleton.
Well,
straight as an arrow, at cruising speed, it should only take about 10 days. However, he walks over to his screen and brings up the galactic map. We are here.
Ooh.
Where we need to go is all the way over here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of uncharted territory between here and there. And honestly, I never did patrol duty in the Shackleton Expanse, so even if I could tell you anything, I don't know anything. And I wouldn't be allowed to request the information from the PDF or the migrant fleet.
Well, luckily, if we're just making a straight shot, we'd only need to hope for no astrometric anomalies that force us out of warp. That, and if we do receive a distress call, obviously standard procedure is to investigate.
Whoops, wrong room. Oh, I know what I should do. So I'll make that big. There. Well, that's just it as well. I do wish for you to... I would never ask Starfleet officers to forsake their duties, so as we're traveling, Federation affairs do need to be attended to along the way. And I can at least advise you if we've encountered an Alcaran or Aldemona problem. If it isn't, then it's something I unlikely don't know about anyway. But
that's fair.
It will be if we're lucky, we'll run into nothing. Space is indeed big, but this is one of the largest uncharted spatial anomalies, persistent spatial anomalies that the Federation has encountered. Even Voyager didn't pass through it. They managed to bypass this entire end of the Beta Quadrant.
Well, knowing our luck, we'll run into something.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the downtime for the crew. It's not every day you get shot out of the galaxy, travel through hyperspace, come back through the barrier, travel 551 years backwards and forwards, then come back in like a few days.
You get used to it. He taps the screen closed.
Oh, I'm glad we're going to have to do that every week then, are we?
I would, unless you want to have conversations with Temporal Affairs every time you do it, I don't advise it. The Victoria has a Temporal Affairs liaison officer at all times for exactly the reasons you would think.
We have a permit.
Unfortunately, I've dealt with temporal affairs enough times to know it's not worth the hassle.
Generally. I mean, who has time for such things?
Yes. Who has time?
So feel free to prepare to brief your crew at your leisure, and get whatever adjustments you need to do done. I will be, for my part, I will be attending to tying up loose ends with my fleet to make sure my officers are able to continue their work without me.
Understood. I'll get a senior staff meeting to just hand out the primary details of the mission, get some supplies slated for the operation. But I think more than likely everyone will want to take some form of leave. So, how long that leave's going to be depends on them.
He nods.
Well, if there's nothing
Dismissed,
else,
Captain.
Yep, just call my name if you need me for something else, Admiral. As he walks out the door.
So where do
You're
you
just
go?
constantly courting.
Oops. I still need that for later.
For this day, probably maybe spend the day with Jaishu. But apart from that, on the second day, that's when I'd call the staff meeting.
All right. News. Oops. Again, the wrong lounge. I really need to label these better. Achilles Lounge. I have like Achilles Lounge and Narendra Lounge. I was trying not to confuse them. So actually, you are meeting with her, so probably Dupe and Dupe. So we know you're hanging out with Commander Jaishu. Question becomes, what are Commander Thralic, Lieutenant Arlen, where's your token? There it is. And Lieutenant Ryloff up to? At least on the first day after, presumably over the 17 days you've been working. Today's the first day. The Achilles isn't going anywhere. There is stuff that Ranger Station is doing, but you're not on the staff for Ranger Station. That's not your job.
Of course, you couldn't find the Romulan for a minute.
Sniggy Romulans.
Honestly, I think the thing that Throg first is check and see if there's any way to, because it's 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
If there's any way to make a trip to Andorra in that period of time, like depending on where ships are going and who's stopping by here. Because if a sufficiently fast ship is going enough of the distance and one's coming back, it's possible,
Well,
but not probable. I think.
Let me find out, actually. The big problem is that you're on the opposite end of the Romulan Klingon corridor, and they're both in the middle of a civil war. That traveling back to Federation space is kind of a pain in the ass. It's doable, but difficult.
Exactly. But it's going to be the thing she's going to check on the first day.
Let me find out for you. Give nothing for free. Reason plus con, difficulty of 2. The station will be assisting you.
All right.
Where the hell's Andoria? There it is.
Would military family help as a trait here. I might
Yeah,
be
because you
able
could.
yeah.
Yeah, I could see it. You could make some calculations based on how you think the wars are going.
Mm. In that case, could I also use the focus of military history?
Yep.
Okay.
So div 1 then. Oops.
I'm gonna buy 1 die with threat here. 1, 3.
As you start peering into routes that aren't the official transport routes, but the areas where intelligence will go, and it's uncharted territory. Not uncharted, but unclaimed territory. Or claimed territory, as the case may be. That's your
Stations
base.
assisting.
Whoop. Station helps.
All right, so that's 2 momentum generate.
Haha.
That's just to find out whether. That's just to find out information.
The only way you'd be able to get there and back within 2 weeks would be on. You would need something that could go warp point 9.999 both ways. So you'd need one
Gotcha.
of the Parliament classes, a Sovereign, and Intrepid can do it. They can go that fast.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Anything slower, anything but the fastest of the fastest, won't. Well, it would take too. Just the sheer there and back again would take too long.
Mm-hmm. All right. And I'm assuming there's no ships making that. No ships of those specifications making that journey currently.
You could try to requisition a offer your leave time as a, hey, can I serve on your ship for a week, and if you fly me back, it's a sort of way to kind of have working passage in a sense. It's like, hey, Captain so and so, I'm on leave, so do you need an extra command officer to help you out? Why? I need a flight back. Oh, well, I could use an extra officer. I just need to stop here and then come back. Well, okay. So you can do that. Is a thing you can do. It's presence command difficulty 3, because you're basically finding a very specific type of ship that is going that direction, and also finding someone who's coming back and arranging all that. The station can assist with this.
Right.
Because with a ship that goes that fast, it's instead of days, it's hours when you're talking that fast. So that's the sort of ship. That's one of the few ships that can get through that corridor without being stopped. Is the fastest of the fast, because they're just blasting through the corridor as quickly as they can.
Mm-hmm.
Which thankfully in your fleet there are Parliament classes, and because of the current Civil War scenarios going on, there's a few floating around both within the Ranger fleet and in the 5th fleet.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Let's see. Rate of Relentless?
I'll take that, Div 2.
Yeah. Focus in team dynamics.
Sure. Look, I don't have to be on the bridge. I could help somewhere else.
Do you have
help with security?
Do you have the trait of Hoplite Commander?
I do have the trait of Hoplite Commander.
Would that kick in that she could offer training while she's as a passenger?
Hmm.
Increase her value?
I'll take it. That's a reasonable argument. That'd be a sell to a captain. So diff what,
Right.
1 now?
Diff 1. Rolling 2 with focus. There we go.
Station held.
Uh-huh. Station. No.
Yeah, if we got one from the roll, so we'll just spend one of ours to squash it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Commander Thorlock, you can grab you've arranged for passage as a traveling hoplite training officer for ships that will be going there and back again. So you're on an educational circuit, but you're also allowed some leave time on Andoria for a bit because that's what you arranged, and you just did not stop until you found somebody saying, "Look, Captain. Look, Commander. Look, Admiral." At some point, you have to call an Admiral above even Grennan. It's like you have to call in all the way back to like Admiral Xenophar from back in the 10th Fleet. It's like, hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
I really want to do this. I'm willing to do whatever. Here's my thing. All right. He arranges for you to get. There's a couple of ships like he can make it work. Like he'll talk to the admirals of those because he has to basically arrange for the 5th Fleet and one of the home fleets to let you do that. And it's something that Admiral Grant's like, I have 3 ships.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Probably
really
something where I'm
lend you
even like calling. Yeah.
It's like I can't lend you any of mine. I need all of them, and I'm losing the Achilles apparently. So that's a thing.
Yeah. Given the like military history thing, also, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in that journey, it's also just a bit of travel on Andorian Imperial ship.
So you're gonna head off to Andoria.
Yes, I think I'm gonna do that.
All right.
I'll,
So you start-
obviously, let everyone know, but
Captain Penn, do you have any objections?
As long as the commander is back by shove off, I don't mind letting her go with a couple of I say stipulations that won't actually stop her from going.
Such as?
I currently need her to give me some recommendations on some ships I've been looking at.
or
Don't worry about it.
okay.
See also
I'll,
that for the meeting tomorrow, as it were, Thralok will be doing it by subspace.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no.
Well, so I have no
Be happy to
objections.
look over ships. Wonderful.
What sort of ships are you having her go over?
I'm going to have her look at some, like, 2 different types. The first type would be very speedy, small, maneuverable vessels, and the second would be maybe a larger engineering or medical vessel.
Like of what kind of make, or for what, in what kind of situation?
One fast response and one like a medical supply vessel. Like stuff that happens to be maybe not as occupied in the central systems that could be redeployed.
Yeah, you're thinking. Yeah, that's something along the lines of like California classes, sabers, for those fast, nimble ones. And for medical engineering ships, you're looking at
Those hospital ones like that.
Like nebulas or some shit. Is it a nebula class?
Nebula class probably, yeah. Because you wouldn't want to use parliaments because they're usually big. They're the big strategic diplomatic ships.
Yeah, like I say, it's kind of a while you're in the central systems. If you happen to hear or come across any vessels of those types that are not exactly heavily occupied at the moment, maybe you can send that information back.
Oh, okay.
Got
He's
it.
just scouting the home fleets to see if anyone's transferable.
Yes.
All right. We'll keep
Got it.
that in the back
Yeah.
of our minds for Threllick's jaunt to Andoria, sorry.
Hell, if you want to send some Andorians back with you, I wouldn't be opposed.
They're called Starfleet
I think-
officers, sir.
I think so one thing actually that Threllick will do before like leaving is talk to Pend and ask him if he wants her to like bring anything back to Andoria type deal, you know? He recognizes that it's an important place for him as well.
The only thing I could think of that you could take back to the home planet would be this, and it'll hand you the Ushan. You know, this is the Ushan of the How or the clan.
Of the Kith.
So maybe handing that back will give you a slightly easier time.
You have someone who needs this back home?
No, just take it to the clan. They'll figure it out. They're not complete morons.
Is Penn relinquishing being the patriarch of the family?
No, it's just not having it out in the frontier.
That's where it belongs. You're the head of the house. It goes heroically into the frontier. If you die, then one of your family has to go get it. It's part of their heroic journey.
Well, never fucking mind then.
I mean, you could send it back if you think you're not coming back. If you think you're gonna die, you're like, okay, I'm thinking ahead here. I'm sending this back. Why? Oh, I know I'm not coming back. It's not happening.
Like,
That's what that would mean. That's why
Yeah.
that's why I thought I'd correct you on that. Like, is that? I don't think that's what you're trying to say. I presume anyway.
Never mind then. It was more like just trying to safeguard like the clan Ushan, but no, just never mind that one.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to be Subkita and lose my shit.
All right. What are Lieutenant Ryloff or Lieutenant Arlen up to for at least the first day of? How are they going to begin their downtime?
Well, I've got that spy drone still.
Yes.
real great start there.
Yeah. So,
You're gonna fuck with the Romulans.
Don't be suspicious.
the Tel Shiar, yeah.
Of course.
Start trying to crack this open. Because we had, we had it active in that fake holodeck, and then we got shot out of the galaxy. And then we had to disable it, so now it's like, eh. And we did just disable it, not destroy it, so...
All right. Wait, what? Oh, no. 1 second.
Probably have to let intelligence know that I'm doing it, just to be on the safe side as far as my situation.
Yeah. If a spy drone suddenly goes awry in Narendra, sorry, that was me.
Yeah, no, I'm letting them know ahead of time, like, yeah, so this is the plan.
My
Of
proposal.
getting into this. Yes, here's the proposal.
All right. First, just to get approval to be messing with it on the station.
I could mess with it on the
give me-
Achilles if they'd prefer.
I think they
Has
would.
the security difficulty 3 to sell their intelligence, the intelligence officer of the fleet to have you mess with this thing anywhere near Narendra.
Do you think you can do it?
Yeah?
Then Penn would have given you a go ahead, if that helps.
You
Listen,
can roll
I'm-
to assist, but it's the intelligence officer for the fleet that's going, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't want you. What are you doing in here? Oh, I'm experimenting on a Romulan spy drone. The hell you are.
A Tel Shiar spy drone.
No. That is not happening. No, sir, I can do it, I swear. All right. sell me on it. Make
Yep.
me believe you, as it were.
So, I have several traits, and I'm sure they'll affect me both negatively and maybe positively. We'll find out.
Yeah,
Such
let's
as being a Romulan is probably
well, that being Roman is fine in and of itself. The fact that
Okay.
you're a defector makes him a little nervous.
okay. Yep.
So I will increase your complication range to 2.
Lovely. Love
Paranoid. It's gonna up the complication yet again to 3 because you start pointing out the various things you're looking out for, and you find yourself not comforting the intelligence officer in any way. You're making it sound way worse than it actually is, but you're just being thorough.
Yep.
In Tal Shiar, in Roman intelligence terms, that's smart. In Starfleet intelligence terms, that sounds like a really good idea not to do it.
Yeah.
But the other traits do not hurt or hinder you.
Okay. Lovely.
It doesn't make it any more difficult. Just you might say something that might make him especially jumping. Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on.
So a focus and paranoia probably wouldn't.
You could, if that's the way you want to go about it. You're proving to him how precisely all the precise things you are worried about and every single paranoid safety measure you have in mind.
I would probably go through investigative techniques if you'll take that. More of a
I will.
here's a why.
I will certainly take that. That will influence the complications if they come up.
Yep. Okay.
They'll scare him less. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be a Borg nanite drone complex mixed with a Cowcat black-red crystal, and then has the implanted mind of a Romulan Tal Shiar spy. What? I mean, it could happen.
That doesn't sound too far out of the ballpark with the Tal Shiar. I could see it.
That's what the paranoid person will say. It's like, who? They don't do that. They have yet to do it. Why are you telling me this?
Where the shit did that come from?
Being a GM too long.
Borg nanite with a Calcut infused core with a Romulan mind. What the shit?
You take the Calcut, you Borgify it, then you put that into a drone.
And then you put the lime in
No,
the
sorry,
coconut.
you
No, I
Bog
follow
the Calcut with a Romulan, then you Borgify the Romulan, and then you can do it. There we go.
Like I said, I understand the mechanical steps. It's like, no, where the fuck did that come from?
Look,
What
this
if we
is too
modify the
specific.
cheese
We're
and
we're
eat the Romulan?
suspicious.
I'll give you 3 thread.
You see why if he did paranoia, that'd be why he might the intelligence guy would be like, where did that even come from? Yeah, you scare me a little.
Oh, hey. Wow. Okay, so I've got a reroll. There we go. No complications.
Yep. You're able to detail it out to the officer to their satisfaction that fine, you can do it on the station. They'll let you use a workshop. They'll even set aside a few security personnel to surround your deck and have backup force field generators in case it blows up or something. Also, Dr. Efrix has been alerted that you may be coming to sickbay rapidly, just in case. Like, once you've sold them on it, they're like, oh, okay. And they just go with it because they've served with Grennan long enough. They're like, oh, that's just how things are around here. Never mind. Like, are you good crazy or are you bad crazy?
It is an entirely valid intelligence asset that is just sitting here being unused. And they tried to use it on us.
All right, let's give you some extended tasks rolls here. We're gonna let you get a couple off before we go to see what Arlen's doing. Pardon me. Yeah, let's call it that. Come back, computer. Thank you. Work. 15. Magnitude 2. Resistance 2. Difficulty 3. And you would be doing trying to pull the thing apart, and you are taking your time about it. So control, security, or engineering. Each roll will eat up a day, basically.
Okay.
I think there should be a comp on that roll because, as we established, this thing can replicate disruptors.
It did do that, but then it
Alright.
blew its own disruptor up.
Complication range 2. I'll buy you on that. Sure.
Damn,
What?
10.
No, I'm not gonna jip the GM of what stuff he can use.
It's a very effective disruptor. It overloaded it last time it tried to use it.
Yeah, but you don't want to be overloading while you're in the room. Is the issue?
True.
Hey, look, I'm
so-
scanning it. Did it just blow up my scanning thing? Oh, it activated. Well, that's annoying.
So if that exists, constantly watching for, I mean, if you'd count that, it's tasked to detect danger or hidden enemies, reduce the difficulty by 1. If you would take that, or not, I can see reason either way.
I would say no, but if you roll complication, I will give you a chance to roll to catch the danger.
Okay. I also
That's
have no
what that would be for.
hesitation, so that works.
Yeah.
Very much just do the thing now.
And I will say you can half this with one momentum, so you could get 1 roll off before the briefing, or you can get 2 rolls off. It just depends how much you're willing to spend.
Okay.
So you're doing security stuff.
Yeah.
Just have to put a little marker to indicate that's what you're doing, so I have a quick reference. Hell with it there.
I don't think we have applicable mission directives here, do we?
No real mission directives other than
Don't really have mission directives.
yeah, you're not on a mission. That's the whole point of having furlough. There
Yeah.
are no directives.
Oh well.
Not yet.
Not yet. Control security's better. We'll go with, investigative techniques focus, or tactical systems. Assume the entire thing's basically a tactical system.
Or at the very least, that's how you're bypassing its tactical systems. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go with investigative techniques. That's the more appropriate one.
Yeah, I've just looked up that no hesitation. That's actually pretty decent talent.
Yep. You can be very cheeky with it.
Is that from the new book?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
I'll give you 2 threat, 1 momentum. Complications there, not there.
Well, shit.
The station's assisting ?
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. It tried. I made 3 momentum though. And it's security plus something challenge dice, right?
Security
2.
plus 2.
Yeah, I think any type of roll for when you doing stuff like that is plus 2.
I swear I've clicked the button.
There it goes.
I will be spending 1 to reroll.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Oh, Jesus Christ!
So
I wish I had
Maestro
something that applied to effects.
So
Wow.
that's brought down by resistance to 5. That's still 5 work.
Yeah, I wish I had something that applied to effects. What the hell?
Well, I mean, luckily all you gotta do is just succeed 1 more time and you're done.
So would you like to spend the
my
momentum
determination.
to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I don't even know if that would work. Spend my determination to get a talent that gives you like the extra damage on effects and be like, damn it, doing this.
You could, but you'd
feasibly
have
could.
that's something that is a thing you could do with determination, but something you'd have to have done
Do
ahead
beforehand.
of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
It would
like,
have to
damn.
have happened before the dice hit the table.
God damn. That is so many effects.
But yeah, you can spend a momentum to work on this, to get some to work on this through the night a bit before the briefing, or you can let it stand and go straight to briefing.
Yeah, we'll work on it again, sure.
Okay, so 1 momentum spent.
Isn't it 2?
For an extra interval thing? No, just 1.
Oh, 'cause I thought it was like a swift task, basically.
No, you're having the time.
Okay, fair enough. No.
Is it that the thing? That's why half the time is so rare, because it's very powerful and very cheap. But sometimes you just can't do it. It's like, can I have the time? No, you have to do it this slow. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
And
Or,
sometimes
let's
we have to
this-
spend 3 because you're halving the time and swift tasking at the same
Yeah.
time.
Whereas you're not in combat or anything, so swift task and stuff doesn't really come into it, thankfully.
Yeah.
You're looking at diff 2 currently.
Okay. Give you a threat because I need to.
You don't need
But I don't
to. You
need
choose
to.
not to.
I like rerolls though. Oh, okay. Tragic. Still made it and made a momentum.
Yep.
And not 4, 7. Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minus 2 is still 5. That's 2 magnitude. And that does it.
Yep.
Oh, the station helps. It did not help, but it did not set off the complication.
Just missed it, same as I did.
So yeah, you are able to safely disassemble the Talshiar spy drone. For at base, this thing is meant to, for free, I can tell you that this thing is meant to be semi-autonomous, in that you enter orders into it and it can kind of just float around on its own. It's a very basic AI. A very shackled AI, though. Ramans are very touchy about that sort of thing, apparently. Or they're getting that way more and more as time's gone on. But it does have a sort of a mini replicator system for replicating tools. So something you could hold in one hand, like a disruptor or a hypospray or a multi-tool, something like that. It wouldn't be able to replicate a rifle. Let's say that's too much. It doesn't have enough matter. It can't carry that much matter inside it, and the emitter for creating tools is too small. Because if they make it big enough to make a rifle, the thing's gonna be big as a dog. Like, it's gonna be, you won't miss that. And it works on very basic principles of gravitics. So it basically is choosing a direction that it's floating. It kind of makes itself float and hover. So basically, how hover cars work. But on the small scale, very expensive. The only people who could really do that are, with this levels of all that together in one package, is a government entity. It's not something that if a private individual were to do it, they'd be spending bars and bars of latinum to make this thing. You also have the means to replicate said item. It is a opportunity 1 escalation 2 to create.
Okay.
You can, for momentum, you can obtain additional information if you want to ask more questions about it. But the stuff I told you is stuff that you found out by pulling it apart. And one last thing, it does have a subspace transceiver, but your comm badge can do that. That's not all that hard.
Yeah.
In this era, it's very easy to do.
But it's probably pre-encrypted.
Yeah, you'd have to break the encryption to talk back through it.
I don't believe you'd probably have to break the encryption to know where it's going as well. Right?
For a momentum, you could at least figure out what direction the signal was going.
Sure.
Let me get it for you. I just need my token things. Where are they? There we go. Problem with running multiple games, you end up with way too many goddamn tokens.
Oh, I just thought of a stupid ass question.
No.
Ping.
Okay.
Actually, that's not quite right. It'd be more like here. Yeah, that makes more sense. Because Roman space is that way.
Yep. Okay.
Would you like to ask any additional questions about the strange object?
Having pulled it apart, is there any unique signature that, if you were specifically looking for it, you'd more or less be able to identify quickly?
How do you mean?
Like I'm guessing if you were to just generally looking inside the ship, this thing wouldn't really pick up.
Right.
Is there any sort of power source or unique mineral or whatever inside this thing that, if you were to look for specifically, be like, okay, that's what's there? Basically, a way to spot future ones potentially.
Surprisingly, no. They try not to go for too exotic in materials, for exactly that reason. Because if you go too exotic, it shows up on sensors. This thing's made of duranium, which is a common building material. It uses a replicator system that people know about, disruptor systems. That the only thing you would look for is, and this is something they can't help, is if it replicates something that's uniquely Romulan, take that back. If it replicates anything that emits energy, so a plasma torch, a disruptor, something like that, as opposed to like a fork. Like a fork's not going to be any weird. It's a duranium fork. It replicated. Everyone knows how to make those. But if it makes an energy emitting thing, the Romulans can't help but it would give off a Romulan energy signature because they can't easily replicate Federation tech or Klingon tech.
Mm-hmm.
And the drone isn't sophisticated enough to do that level of programming unless you told it. You had to pre-program it to make that exact blueprint. But it would still be off. It's still... There's every military has a unique... That's why phasers are very controlled for exactly that reason. It makes it hard to replicate and pretend it was made by Starfleet. So that would be the thing. That isn't obtained information. But yeah, the one thing you would look for, I suppose, would be Romulan energy signatures. At some point, if it needs to open a door or shoot something or whatever, it would give off an energy signature eventually.
Okay. And that was a spend?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, other than that, we'll just... Okay, here you go, Starfleet Intelligence. It's, their new shiny spy droid.
One of their newest ones. Remind me later that you have a commendation from Starfleet Intelligence.
Okay.
For reputation, because giving them that and having it already cracked for them saves them miles of effort, especially given the current situation. Knowing about these new style drones, it's good to know.
Mm-hmm. And now you know how to make them yourself. Congratulations.
Yeah. Arlen, what are you up to for your first day? Or what are you trying to do in general for your downtime before the meeting starts anyway?
I'm not sure. How's my baby doing? How's the ship?
The Achilles is doing pretty good. The Shiri vessel was able to do rather detailed repairs and going over it again. Both your crew goes over it, and the Achilles engineer goes over it. Narendra, the fleet engineer, as it were, goes over it, and it's like, yeah, they did it. They replicated 1-to-1 exactly what is expected. They replicated to Starfleet spec. Like there's to the point that it's almost like brand new, straight out of Utopia Planitia parts, which that alarms them a little bit. They were able to get that high quality from just a bunch of nanites, but there's no residual nanites, and the ship is not otherwise damaged. And at present, because you're on leave, it's now docked with Narendra Station, so it's running off of Narendra's power. So that also means that you can get maintenance done, actually, because you can actually do level 1 diagnostics on it without disrupting anything, because the ship can just shut off everything and still be working. Like, it could shut off its warp engine and everything would be working.
Probably on the first day, because as I know that I'm going to be called into a meeting like the next day, right? That's already on my itinerary.
Yeah, Penn has that marked in that there's gonna be a staff meeting tomorrow.
Since I know there's gonna be a staff meeting tomorrow, I don't want to like go into full vacation mode quite yet. So I'm just gonna spend the first 24 hours just doing a level 1 diagnostic, just stem to stern.
All right, give me. Oh, I'm gonna go one up to escalation. Whoops. Went right by what I needed to look up. That doesn't help us at all. Let's call this reason plus engineering difficulty. Oh, you're doing a diagnostic. Difficulty 2. The station will be assisting. Or you can have the Achilles assisting, whichever. But not both. Wow. Or not both.
I trust the ship to assist me.
Okay.
Because I know my ship.
Haha.
In fact, could that talent apply?
Yeah, it would.
So I get 1 free D20. Let's add 2 more threat.
Sure.
So I can get that at reroll. And the focus of technical insight.
Yeah. That would apply.
And a little bit of a stretch here, but the trait of fast thinker, could that help me process the information faster and be able to complete a full diagnostic in an impressive amount of time?
That will allow you to do an additional roll after this. If you succeed. If you succeed, you'll be able. The trait will allow you to do yet another thing based on what you find or don't find, as the case is. Like
Cool.
you get the diagnostics done way faster because you're able to kind of help. You're able to skip a few steps that the computer doesn't need, that the computer wouldn't think to do. Like, don't check that. I already know it works. Why? Because I did a diagnostic the other day. I already know it works. Skip it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I could jump to conclusions faster than the computer.
Yeah.
All right, I have my dice. I have reason engineering, and what's the ship helping with? Computers engineering.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll get the ship for you.
Thank you. And bold reroll. This is why we use bold.
Yep. No, you're not doing that anymore, so I can pull you out of there. You are able to determine that there's a thing that the computer isn't really looking for, and the station engineers aren't wrong, and your engineers aren't wrong, that the parts that were replicated by the nanites are in fact Starfleet standard. However, you and your thoroughness, especially with the level 1 diagnostic, it is hard not to see stuff at that level. It's like, to the point you're getting like you're actually breaking out like microscopic scanners and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're pulling out the electron microscopes for this shit.
You are able to determine that certain parts of the parts of the ship that were repaired, which, as you know, was extensive, beyond the stuff that Cadet Zeft was able to help you with. Like that stuff that his team and his team helped repair, that stuff is Starfleet standard and Starfleet issue with a bit of extra inventive flair, like the best type of damage control. So all that's fine. Anything he fixed is part of the norm. The stuff the Shiri fixed has a slight. I'm talking almost insignificant numbers, like 0.00, so on, but just enough for you to see that there's a dimensional variance that implies that this material is not from this particular quantum reality.
Oh. Oh my.
Now, thankfully, you can spend momentum to ask further questions. But that's what you find. Everything is working, but you do find that that's the one thing that's weird. These things are from a different quantum reality. And that's a significant part of the ship. That's, God, I'd have to look back in the logs, but we're talking about, I want to say one,
It was
two,
three.
three,
It was 3 breaches to each system, so that
minus
is
one of them. So that's
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/6 of the ship. Well, 5 out of 6 parts of the ship, rather, have some of the Shiri repair systems in it. So quite a bit. Not enough that you wouldn't notice it on a level 2 diagnostic, and there's a reason why the Narinja engineer didn't see it, because why would he be looking for that? Why would you ever look for that on a normal scan? You know to look for it because you know what happened.
And I'm slightly hyper focused on this because my ship, my rules.
Yep. So
Captain just rents it from me.
Would you
any
like to
momentum
say
you'd like
that?
to spend to learn additional information?
Yes, absolutely. So, is the quantum invariance at a subtle enough level that it's not affecting, it's not cascading in change of atomic structure, chemical structure, or physical structure. It's strictly variance on the quantum level and not much higher.
That's a question, and there is no strange entanglements regarding that. So
So it's not like
it isn't bleeding. It isn't bleeding over.
it's not at it's not a cascading any difference to where this steel happens to be a 0.0001% and weaker than our steel.
Yeah.
Which in that case I would start ripping the ship apart and replacing it.
Yeah, it's like we need to do those repairs all over again. Hooray.
Because this is a starship. You know how much stress this starship goes under? I'm not leaving that much variance in it.
Though I will
I
say the
guess
reason that probably is the case is because the Shiri were advanced enough that they were able to account for that. So it probably is weaker compared to their technology, but it's stronger than what you would normally have. But they brought it down to you. Like if you're already starting from high, you can always bring it down low. But if you're starting at level and it goes low at all, that's a problem.
yeah. Um. So, structurally and stuff, this is fine. What about anything as far as could this act with if warp field dynamics or the warp field or subspace? Would the variance catch on that?
For momentum, will answer that.
I'll spend.
Day-to-day travel, no, it wouldn't affect the warp bubble. If it did, you would have noticed it already. It would have already happened. But if it could theoretically interact with certain types of subspace radiation in odd ways. What exactly those ways are, you're not 100% sure. It wouldn't be catastrophic. Like it's uranium steel is uranium steel. Biogel pack's a biogel pack, even with that variant. But when you're talking about anomalous subspace bumps in subspace, as it were, or subspace anomalies. I'm overcomplicating the word, but a subspace anomaly is anomalous, and you know what your ship normally can do and how it normally reacts to anomalies in general, but you don't know what that slight dimensional variance will do. That quantum variance will do. It may be nothing. It may be a nothing burger, or it could turn to jello. Like there's a massive variance between the two.
and there could be a situation where that slight quantum invariance is the difference between duranium steel and Jello in this
Though
particular
it could be
substance
the exact
phenomenon.
opposite as well. It could be the
Yeah.
exact opposite extreme of it's actually especially resilient because it's on a certain wavelength. Without exposing it to more anomalies, you wouldn't be able to verify that one way or the other.
Okay. So that's something to keep in my back pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and something you're going to be spending thread on in the future.
Hey, how'd you know?
Cause you're Corbinian. I know how you play.
Any additional questions you wish to ask?
This might be a little outside of my ballpark, but tactical considerations. Could anyone out there weaponize this somehow? Like create a targeted quantum effect that could uh, destabilize us based on having this quantum signature on half our ship?
For a momentum, I'll answer that. No standard galactic great power, or even lesser power for that matter, has a technology to do that easily. They would have to know exactly what to aim at, exactly what frequency to mess with, at which point it's better just to shoot a torpedo at you. Like, it's just so much effort to make that kind of weapon. So could they, in theory? Yes. Does anyone work with that kind of technology? Not in the alpha beta quadrants. You'd have to go all the way out to the delta quadrant. There's some species that Voyagers ran into that could do that, but though they were one in
Can I
like,
can I have some of those Voyager records so I know what those species did, so I have an idea of if anyone were to get at this technology, I'll have an idea of what to counter with.
that's what this question is telling you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could know that. You know that there are some species somewhere in the galaxy that do work with that kind of energy. But by and large, it's a thing you shouldn't run into in the alpha or beta quadrants, unless they went way out of their way and already knew what you know. They'd have to know the exact variance number, because if they're off at all, it won't do anything.
Okay, so given in that, I'm gonna say that my impression of this is okay. That's interesting, a little scary, but structurally and day to day activities, and from our oh, breath and span and operational window will be just fine. It's just that those bleeding edge cases that I don't know what's going to happen, but we don't know what's going to happen in those bleeding edge cases anyways,
Yeah,
regardless of the quantum variance.
You just have extra facets to worry about. It's the only real difference.
Okay. I'm going to wrap that up in a nice report, and I'll bring that up in a meeting.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a meeting I'll have tomorrow. You do have the other half of your day because you are a fast thinker, so you're able to blast through that pretty quickly. Like, there's other things people will do during they'll probably use the whole day to do other diagnostics, but you did the stuff you cared about. Like, people are going to check the grav plates and all that other stuff just to be thorough, but because why not? You already shut down you already shut down the ship. Why not? Some science officer can do an experiment, most likely, to see about stuff. And actually, I know there's something you guys did to the Achilles recently.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
The hull plating.
Yeah.
Yep, the hull plating is the biggest question mark. That is non-standard Federation technology. But thankfully, it's a technology that, because Ashiri helped you with it and they taught you how to do it, you can replicate it. It's something that the Starfleet Corps of Engineers are going to be scratching their heads about, because they have to figure out how to because they know how to do that for Achilles class ships. Now they have to be able to do it for every other. They want to do it for all classes of ships, but now it's a matter of yeah, that's not going to be standard issue for a while, because we have to figure out how to do that universally rather than bespoke.
Speaking of bespoke call, are there any engineering considerations I need to make since we have a bespoke hull plating? Do I have to get extra materials or find new techniques to repair the hull?
Well, thankfully, because you guys have it as a talent, it is something that your crew, your engineering teams, and the ship and the damage control teams across the departments is now briefed on. They now know how to deal with that type of crystal carbon hull plating, and they know how to grow it. Like they basically set up a room to be 0G, and then they grow it in a very particular pattern that can go, like they can create hull plating with. Now the problem is though, it's the same problem. If it turns into the same problem you would run into if you lose hull plating. You still need a space dock to generate such large plates to replace the plates you lose. So if you lose a hull plate, that thing is so many meters wide that covers a whole room, for example, right? So you're talking 50, 100 meters or so of plating that you might have to replace either gross or discreetly. So you usually need, if it's a small bit, you guys can replicate it in a replicator, just fit it in. You guys know how to do it or how to grow it. But if you want to grow it somewhere else, you need somewhere technologically, at very least at a technological level where they have gravitics. Because you can't, without gravitics mastery or gravitics technology, you can't make crystal carbon hull plating. You need to have that to make it. Which for a post-warp society, duh, that's easy. It's one of the first things you learn. But if you're pre-warp and you're still working with rocket technology, you're not going to have gravitics. Their way to deal with inertial forces is here's some seat belts and a helmet. Breathe carefully. Try not to pass out. That sort of thing.
Okay. Could I work on a technique to in the field, out in deep space, ace in the middle of nowhere, and be able to make a large laboratory or to replicate a large bit of hull plate just in case. Like we're stuck in the middle of nowhere and we lost half our hull. We need to make some emergency hull now. Could we make a system to allow for that if we park on a planet or something?
You could, what that would be, and you won't have to spend a roll for this. This is something your character would just know. You could, in theory, set up a modular. You'd have to take the talent modular lab and set it to crystal carbon manufactory, and you could do that yourself. You could grow it little by little into larger and larger things. It's just that you'd have to sit there for a long time growing it and then moving it out of the ship. But you could do that. You just need a full talent's worth of lab space and manufacturing space to design that.
Okay.
Not something you can do on the fly. It's something you'd have to set up. You'd have to have set up in advance. We could do it.
So I can't just have a kit in a cargo bay and then I can unfold it when we need it. Unfold the entire factory.
Starfleet is not quite at that level of tech yet, unfortunately. You need industrial level replicators, which that's what modular labs work with.
Yeah, and I think that's a level of paranoia we're not quite at that yet.
But it is something the captain might want to look at in the future because it might come up. Maybe you don't know what your mission is quite yet. If you're going to be like near Narendra Station, who cares? Who's going to need to prepare yourself? But if you're on a deep space assignment, that's something you might want to know that you might want to have.
Especially since we have a bespoke hull plating that no one else has. So
yep. And it's because of that type of hull plating that you would be able to do that. You couldn't do that with standard uranium hull plating. Because you have to make it all at once. You can't make it little by little. It has to be made as one big thing. Whereas with this type of hull plating, you can grow it little by little and then have it grow into the whole plate.
Okay. With that out of the way, what amenities do we have on the station? Do we have a nightclub? Are there any live plays? Actually.
Oh yeah, this is a floating city. Like this is a proper Narendra Station is a proper starbase.
What live musical theater do we have on the station? I would like to go on a date.
All right, give me insight plus command or con difficulty of 2 to find a suitably entertaining or at least interesting show to see.
Big stretch, but Starfleet protocols? Sorting out diplomatic events to intrigue and make mild entertainment and for diplomatic situations.
I will have to say no. You're doing like just
I am stretching here. That was a stretch.
yeah. I'd give it a complication increase.
Not worth it. I will take a momentum for a third die.
Yeah, as long as the GM doesn't say you find a place where Pend and Jaishu are jamming.
I mean, for 2-3 no.
I don't say Pend as a musical theater person,
No?
but
And plus,
No.
he has culture.
No, that was
I-
Brennan.
Hi, Van.
Brennan was the one who was musical theater.
It's true.
no, put that threat away. Don't spend 2 threat to have me run into the Admiral.
Yeah.
I could hear you clicking the threat, thinking about it.
No, I was looking something up.
I mean, maybe that could happen without threat.
You find a group called Dozen Dust that is performing here live. They are a Bajoran music group that kind of takes on traditional Bajoran chants, but they mix it with a sort of grubby Klingon grunge that kind of has this weird jam they have going on. And it sounds weird, but apparently it's gotten good reviews.
So this is just sheer musical performance. Just a
Well,
band
there
jamming
is
on stage?
holographics involved in the show, and apparently incense is involved.
Okay.
You even get to
Holographic
take home a
incense.
souvenir. Well, there's real incense and there's a holographic incense to relive to feel the pulse of the prophets in your heart.
Yeah, it just sounds like a Rammstein concert.
Certain species are required to have a health waiver, though, due to the whole incense thing.
Kind of like a Rammstein concert.
Yeah, but good. No, I'm just kidding. So you're gonna go on, but with that, you will have you're able to have a rather good time is relative, but if nothing else, it's interesting. Then,
And of course, I bring Yolan along because that was the whole idea.
oh yeah.
How does Yolan react to this?
He has a lot of questions. many questions. He doesn't get to ask them during the show, but it's a lot of him asking. He asks you some questions to see if you understand certain bits of the show. He asks like some of the performers, because apparently this wasn't, the Dozen Dust was in fact a dozen people who performed, but not all of them were playing instruments, which kind of confused things a little bit. You kind of have to ask them, so why did you do this? Why did you do that? And they're happy to educate the masses, man, that sort of thing. So it turns into a rather interesting backstage chat that Yolan has more fun after the show than during the show.
Yeah, that makes sense for him.
It's like, I'm just so confused. It's not that I disliked it, but I'm not sure I liked it either. I don't know.
What happened?
What even happened?
What was in that incense, man?
Yeah. Cadet Ven.
Yes.
So, to bring up to speed rather quickly, for the last 17 days, various repair efforts were done aboard the station due to the super nuclear torpedo that hit the station. Over those days, that is fine. The blurb is in the pins, as it were, in Discord. But that's been set aside. That's all been dealt with before the episode started. At episode start, you were informed that there's going to be a staff meeting tomorrow. But for the next 2 weeks, other than tomorrow morning at least, for the next 2 weeks, you have leave time on Narendra Station. There are things that Narendra Station is dealing with, like the Klingon Civil War and the Romulan Civil War and the Quetzal and all that. But the thing is, that's Narendra Station's problem, not Achilles' problem. Achilles has been given 2 weeks leave. They want you guys to relax. Don't worry about it. The station isn't at red alert, so just enjoy yourselves. But they are working. Like, the station is busy.
Right.
So the question becomes, what is Cadet Ven going to try to do for his 2 weeks of downtime?
Well, as my personal log implied, I think Ven is gonna try and connect a bit with his fellow cadets, because we all just went through a very traumatic experience that I don't think any other cadets in Starfleet Academy can say that they've had.
You also can't probably say you've had it. It's kind of classified, I'm guessing.
Yeah, part of that those 17 days were probably the very first thing before anything else was, okay, Temporal Affairs wants to talk to you. What? They were waiting for you. Oh.
Do I have to put this in my class report? No!
You definitely don't want to do that. You are able to meet up with a few of your cadet friends.
I mean, it's as if at the end of last session, when I said, congratulations, we all get to deal with temporal affairs. We all got to deal with temporal affairs.
Yeah. Cadet Zeft doesn't spend time with you guys. He spends some time with his mom. Part of it is spending time with his mom. Hooray. But also, he went through a rather extraordinary surgery to be able to perceive hyperspace. So he also needs to speak with his doctor, who is also his mother. So... Well, probably not his doctor, but you get what I mean. It's definitely one of those, hey, I'm going to talk to the person who knows the most about strange wibbly-wobbly medicine. And she would insist, because it's one of her babies, so no. But I am spending a couple threat.
Yay.
Fitness. Plus medicine. You know what? I'll spend 4 threat, because I am hitting all of you. Medicine. Difficulty 2 for the cadets. To see how well they dealt with the rather harrowing experience. Now that they finally are home, they're away from this. They finally gotten back from all of this, and now it just hits you guys, like, because you're just cadets. You guys are expected to do some stuff in the field, and the Achilles is supposed to be a fairly, given where it was being deployed, a fairly simple tour. It's turning into a bit more than that.
Who wants to grab the other cadets?
I mean, slightly longer than a 3-hour tour, but
Yeah.
I have
The hour
Hassan.
tour turned out to be a whole thing, so...
Who want also if Alan has Fazan, who wants Colbert and Sal?
I'll roll Kobuk.
I'll take a momentum.
Okay, and I'll grab to Saral.
No.
Sorry, I'll spend that one.
Focus in pharmacology for Cadet Kobuk.
Sure.
Self-medicating.
I would take that, yeah. When Kobuk starts having a weird tremor, he knows that there's certain things he can take to kind of help himself out. Oh, Cadet Ven. That's not good.
It's not.
Um,
Hey.
focus and Starfleet protocols, I am compartmentalizing as in this like a real officer would not, but I'm compartmentalizing.
Add complication increase.
Sure, that sounds fun.
Because part of this is your character recognizing that they have an issue at all, which doesn't look like. So I've noticed it before it got bad.
Wait. I will
I'm waiting.
spend my metal to quash.
Which metal?
I have the. Hang on, I have a few.
That's why I'm asking.
Yep. Legion of Honor.
Okay. Yep. To quash the complication at least.
Yeah.
And that leaves Vizan.
Yeah. She doesn't have an applicable focus because she has a 1 in medicine.
Yeah. Well,
Only the medical officer.
Yeah.
Because he's doping up on drugs.
Well, part of it is Kobach started taking some pharmacology, and then he recognized, ooh, I need to talk to a counselor, like, today. Yeah, he's like, yep, this isn't just me having a bad day or being a little depressed. This is turning into a full-blown trauma. I need to talk to a counselor before this turns into one. Unfortunately, Ven, Sarai, and Vizan did not recognize the problem until the trauma had already set in a bit. Those three have trauma. Bracket. Trauma 2, bracket. Time travel.
Cool.
Mhm.
And by cool, I mean,
So trauma two means that's like a double disadvantage.
No, so basically, it's an on the character sheet you list it as
it's an injury, right?
It's an injury. So basically, anything to do with time travel, it increases complication and difficulty by 2. So if they have to do something that time travel's involved, they have the trauma kind of creeps up on them, and it makes it harder for them to do anything.
Well, Vizan's just going to bury this as deep in her psyche and forget all about it.
That's why it's a trauma. That's not good. Seek help.
Not if Kobach
got help
him
before
out.
it turned. But you can work on it. It's just something that they have to. They can try to get fixed once per episode. They can get medical. They can seek out medical attention to try to get counseling and try to work on that trauma. Kobach just happened to get lucky that he caught it like 17 days ago. Like he caught it way early, and he knew he was having an issue. He didn't, unfortunately, recognize that his fellow cadets. He thought, well, maybe it's just him. No, it's just me. I'm the one who's having a problem. It's just that all the other cadets kind of feel that weight of, oh god, we did. Like part of it is we did just slingshot around a sun, and if you calculate that wrong, best case scenario, you just go to the wrong time. Worst case scenario, you're vaporized. So yeah, near-death experience is not fun. So yeah, so the when the cadets sit together, well, at least 3 of you are. Well, Sarai's not showing it, or trying not to show it, but it's even for Vulcan, it's a little unnerving to even talk about it. So what do you do, Cadet Ven, as you hang out with your fellow cadets, minus Seth?
Where is Zeph, by the way?
With his mom.
Oh.
E.
Ew.
E.
Okay.
Uh-huh. What? Huh?
No. Just leave it.
No.
Ven, what are you doing?
Yeah, Ven, I think, is just going to. He is quietly going to take a sip of his drink. It's one of those. He feels like he should say something, and he could probably also get the emotions off of those around him that
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, because I presume with that trauma in mind, Ben can feel that his friends are off.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Um.
That's probably how the
So
complication came up. You were probably extra sensitive, not just to your own fear, but the fears of the people around you, and you're able to. Thankfully, Legion of Honor, you're able to kind of very quickly contain it, so it's only your fears you were having a bad time with, not everyone else's fears.
yeah,
Because then you would have
that
you have gotten 2 traumas if you let that sit.
yeah, that's a thing that Betazoids can deal with occasionally, accidentally taking on everyone else's shit in addition to your own. Yeah, so he's right now, Ven is kind of avoiding the targ in the room.
I got you.
I don't know if his fellow cadets are going to as well.
Vassan's gonna order round drinks for everyone. What do you guys want, huh? Anything?
Mongolian seltzer.
A limonata. It's Italian lemonade.
I am fine.
She signals a waiter or orders the seltzer and the Italian lemonade, and for herself, she's gonna get so probably a sweet trill wine.
Give me a presence command difficulty 3. The cadets can assist. One of you can lead. The other cadets can assist as you're all trying to. You know what? Yes, some of you are traumatized. Yes, but you have time off. You're all here. You're all sharing drinks together. You're gonna try to, if nothing else, try to enjoy yourself as best you can.
Not me. My presence command is garbage.
Well, I am the leader of this group, so it only makes sense that this responsibility for morale falls to me.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's totally Vazan though. I buy that.
Yup.
Yep.
How does
I'm gonna be a
fit
I'm gonna be a captain one day. Sure you are, Vazan.
How does that ego fit in her uniform? Goodness.
It's red. That's how it fits. Doesn't fit in the blue or the gold ones. Piano, presence command difficulty 3. All one leads, the others can assist.
Let's see. I'm not sure I can spend any of my focuses unless kind of weird one, but maybe journalism, being able to talk about our experiences and kind of contextualize them and pull them out of ourselves and be able to look at it from a third person point of view might help us process
Complication
it.
increase. I see where you're going, but it's it's a bit out there.
I'll take it. And 2 threat. Or
Okay.
3 threat, sorry.
Oh, you're a bold command, aren't you?
No, I'm just being bold.
Oh.
Off the ship, yeah.
Sometimes you just have to spend threat.
I think Vazan is the one supporting character I've really attached to. I love playing this character.
Yeah, because it gives you.
I always find I get a couple of those.
Yeah.
a couple of those supporting characters like, oh yeah, no, I really enjoy this one.
Yeah.
I mean, unsurprising considering I'm now playing one of them.
I don't think I don't think I can pull off Hassan full time. Though I think I would get bored with it, and everyone else would get annoyed with it.
Yeah, no.
But-
But every once in a while, it's good to whip out.
Yeah.
And
Make
it's
the-
and then there's the doc with Zeft.
So, is Xander gonna make the roll?
Yeah, are you gonna
Huh?
roll?
I was gonna
Hassan?
wait for Corbinian to come back.
Oh, he's already taken the threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
then we can also roll our assist.
Yep.
Hobuk is definitely going to roll an assist, even though he only has an 8 in this.
I mean, fucking Tesseral wasn't much better. But we gained one off it.
I don't think this is a conflict. We did get a momentum out of it.
Wait, wasn't it comp 2?
Just the comp only went up by 1.
yeah, comp.
Yeah, but you
comp
rolled
two.
a 19 there, Ben. So I think that might be a comp.
Would the comp apply to everyone else or just me?
Yeah.
Generally, it does.
Although it's specifically because of the focus used.
True.
If it's the main roller raising the complication, I think it affects everyone. If it's an assist, I think it just affects the assist.
I mean,
think that's-
that'll just determine whether or not we have to spend a quash is really it.
Yeah, but you know,
We'll ask-
or let the complication stand.
Yeah.
You can always do that. We don't do it very often, but you could do it.
We'll ask Corby his ruling when he gets back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't worry, cadets. During the meeting tomorrow, I'll be ordering a psychological evaluation of everyone before we leave.
No.
Frolic is definitely gonna be like, oh shame, I'll be arriving back like 4 hours before departure.
Still enough time.
Yeah. She's not actually going to make that excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more for the lower decks because Ben has enough confidence in his senior staff to not suffer due to things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for lower decks, and that would include the cadets, it's like, let's just see what the general mental state is and if anyone needs help.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I was asking you to look at ships when he was heading off to Andoria. It's
Yeah.
like, if we can, like, quote unquote, in character, find some not occupied vessels that could be, just let me know.
Mm-hmm. You try and get him reassigned or something.
Yeah, because I don't. It's not like I'm asking for sovereigns or warships or that type of nonsense. But having a fast responder around Narendra to jump about when we need, and having a dedicated like medical / supply vessel to help back up the other ships when they're out and about scanning or on missions, actually seems like reasonable things to ask for.
Okay, so here's the question we have. So we know Vizan raised her complication range through using that focus. Does that also increase the complication range for everyone under
Yes.
that?
It
Okay,
would've.
then that was a complication for me. Do we want to spend 2 to quash or not?
Up to you.
That
Well,
technically it'll
Vizan's
be
the
up
one
to,
rolling.
and they've currently be avied. Fuck it, let it stand.
We'll let it stand.
Not a social conflict. Answer that question in the text.
So we succeeded, but complication.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just let it stand.
All right. So you did succeed, but with complications. What I'll say, you might want to write this in the note for each of the characters. Maybe put an injury or something. On the next episode, you guys will have a advantage that you had. You had good shore leave, or you had, or that night, a night of memorable drinking, as it were, where you had really good times. Like, so the next time a morale type check or a trauma type check might come up, that advantage could kick in and help you deal with it because you have a fond memory to look back on.
And Embasan totally stands up in her chair, or one leg a kicked up, doing a Captain Morgan pose, and she tries to give a Kirk-like speech. It doesn't work.
No wonder it's complicated. But whoa, what? Oh. As for Arlen, I was just thinking about this. For you, because you made your check without a complication, you have the next time you have a trauma roll, you have an advantage to it.
Okay.
So you'll want to write that down for him. But that all said, new scene as we go straight into the staff meeting.
So is it only Vizan that has it then?
All the cadets there get it because you guys kind of
okay.
it was kind of a group effort. Arlen kind of did it for himself. Actually, arguably for Arlen, you would have done it for yourself and for Yolan because you guys did something together.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I follow.
Pend and Jaishu may be able to do this later, but not now because today is mainly just them trying to find time later in the 2 weeks to do something. But for now, it's like she has stuff she needs to do. You have stuff you need to do. You have a quick chat, quick lunch, and then it's like, well, off we go because we literally have stuff to do. So now we actually go here. He's not here. New scene. uh, oh no, way too tense for what we're doing. There we go. You four arrive aboard the Achilles in the conference room. This is day 2, the following morning.
Oh boy.
Starlock stays standing, brooding in the corner as her picture shows.
Oh, sorry. Um,
Move to sit down.
I just keep covering everything there. I mean, am I not like holo projecting in or on a screen somewhere?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. Actually, you could be... Boop. and the doctor is currently still helping with various ongoing medical issues because the medical staff needs all the help they can get. Pend, you're the only one who's been briefed. If you want to share, this is fine, but I'll tell you what she's currently busy with. But continue with your briefing. The floor is yours.
Glad you could all come in just before we have our 2 weeks of shore leave. But we have received our next set of orders, which is we will be escorting Admiral Trailblazer to... Right, okay, yeah. We will be escorting Admiral Trailblazer to the Alcaran system to begin diplomatic talks with the Alcarans and the Aldemona. Which is currently, and I'll bring up the star chart in the middle of the table, on the complete opposite side of the Shackleton Expanse.
Oof.
The journey's
We've
expected...
been provided.
Oh, God.
Have we been provided course specifications? Or are we expected to find our own way?
They will be provided by the Admiral when he comes on board when we shove off.
Understood.
Due to... Basically, due to how his role is within Starfleet and how galactic law works, until we fully enter diplomatic talks with them, this needs to remain a aspect of secrecy and all that good stuff. That being said, we still are holding the 2 weeks worth of shore leave, but the journey will take 10 days if nothing goes wrong. So
knowing us, probably a month.
Well, who knows, but I expect longer than 10 days. So at the very least, during the 2-week period, some things do need to be worked on, such as getting supplies for the journey ready, making sure the ship's in shape, making sure the crew are psychologically ready for a long-term mission after what we've been through. So I'll be giving out some general orders which would like to be completed before shove off. But apart from that, you will have your downtime period free.
Be advised, in your handouts in special advisories, you have the Codex Legis Galacticae. If you wish to know more about the particular articles in it, your character will have to spend time reading it. It's a rather lengthy document.
Oh, shit.
Good thing I don't have to deal with law stuff anymore. That's not my...
Yeah, it'll never come up for you, Cadet. You don't have to worry about anything.
But yeah, you can probably shove this back over to the other map.
Boop, boop, boop.
So, yes, primarily I'd like the resupplying of the Achilles sorted. I wish for the medical department and the station to work together for a good portion of the ship to go through some psychological assessments. Again, we've been through a lot, and not a lot of people are, I shouldn't say mentally strong, but not used to these type of activities. And we're immediately going into another long-term trek, so that's going to be mandatory before we set off for pretty much everyone.
Hmm.
That's not negotiable, Mr. Rylov, even if I have to drag you in there myself.
Yes, sir.
Just ask
I'm
Mr. Allen.
assuming you'll want to begin these evaluations using Narendra personnel to augment our own counseling staff.
Correct, yes. Basically, the sooner we can get everyone seen to, the better, but everyone has to have this done before shove off.
I'll make sure my consultations are done before I arrive back. One of the ships I'm on should have the capacity to do so.
Fair enough, that's acceptable. Is there anything here anyone else would like to report? I hear a few of you have been busy over the last day at least.
Yes, as captain, I have something to report.
By all means.
The repairs the Shishiri gave us. I did a level 1 diagnostic on the ship, and I found something peculiar about the material they used. And I'll pull up a holo display. This is our geranium molecules, and this is theirs. And it shows out here there's a slight quantum resonance variance. As far as I can tell, structurally, mechanically, and even chemically, it's identical to ours. However, I can't account for anything and everything that could affect this.
I'll want
Effectively,
specifications forwarded to me on the differential.
yes.
Well, it's good to have this information. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really modify anything because if we encountered something strange, strange things would happen in the first place.
It just means that it would complicate any subspace or quantum phenomenon we come across, because instead of just having one quantum and resonance to deal with, we have two. But
Yeah.
mechanically and in every other normal stressors of warp travel and space travel, it seems exactly the same.
Are such things not temporary?
I do not know. Oh, I would like to request that science look into this.
That is you, cadet.
Yeah, can be done.
Well, if that's the case,
I,
that can be done over the 2 weeks. People
Yeah.
can do it if they have the time. But again,
Yeah.
the 2 weeks is primarily for any downtime activities.
Of course, I should have some time to run some custom chemistry algorithms on the structure. See if I can't find a chemical diagnostic that'll work this out.
Very well. So, anyone else have anything else to report?
Yes, Captain. I took the time yesterday to, with the permission of the local intelligence officer, take apart the Tal Shia spy device.
I bet they weren't too thrilled about that.
I made my case, and they eventually agreed to let the operation happen.
Fair enough. Did we get in any insights?
The device is, as we have found through its deployment aboard the Achilles, capable of replication of small handheld devices. Disruptors are among those, but it seems likely that it's more common for slicing tools, things to allow it to gain access to places that might be blocked off. Standard geranium construction, small anti-grav capacities, does have a encrypted transmitter, which I was not able to crack. I didn't attempt it at the time. But we should be able to replicate a similar device of our own should we feel the need to. And while the encryption was not broken, the direction of its transmissions were understood. We do have a idea for the location of a Tal Shiar base within the Shackle.
Oh joys, Klingons Tal Shiar, oh my.
I believe the Tal Shiar are operating out this far in the midst of the conflict that they currently find themselves in. They believe there is something worthwhile out here that will be used in their civil war.
Well, it doesn't really surprise me, but at least it's good information to have lying around.
Captain. And just a nod.
Well, if there's nothing else, like I said, you have free time for the next 2 weeks apart from a mandatory psychological evaluation. So whatever you get up to is your choice. Just don't break the law, or let me find out that you broke the law.
Oh, Captain, one more thing about our hull plating. I reviewed our processes. We do have the ability to repair our small parts of it in the field, but otherwise, it's just like regular geranium hull plating. If we lose large chunks of it, we'll have to return the dock, unless we can and either find the space or make the space on board, or to get a dedicated laboratory.
Understood.
Then we might be able to. Then we might be able to replace whole sections of hull plating in the field, so to speak. Which, if we're a pathfinding vessel, that might be something of interest to pursue.
Well, ideal situation is we wouldn't need that, but it's something I would definitely keep in mind for next time the ship is in for retrofit.
Just recommendations. As far as the quantum resonance information, do we want to keep that classified?
For someone to try and use that information against us seems like a lot of effort for such a little payoff. I do reckon we should classify it, but I don't think it needs to be like classified, locked away, put in a safe, chucked into a black hole type of classification. Just note it down, hand it to security, and they'll probably just file it away for no one to care about. No, that's not a dig at Rylov. It's just this is not the most important piece of information.
Discrepancies within geranium are not exactly uncommon. This particular type of discrepancy is, but
again, for someone to go to that length just to mess with you, it's like, that's a lot of effort you've put into that for such little payout.
Mostly it seems important to log the understanding in case it becomes relevant in any future mission or to other crew members on board ship.
Yeah, so
I was mainly curious as for my own social interactions is regarding this information.
well, I probably wouldn't go around handing out the information willy-nilly, but just keep it in reports, and security can just keep it classified but accessible.
Classified but accessible. It sounds like a contradiction in terms.
That is a
But
contradiction.
you know what I mean. There's different levels of classification.
Well, that's I as the GM will need clarification because who are you classifying it from? Like just general public?
Yeah, like general
Just
public.
crew? Okay, so random guests can't look that up. Okay, that's
No.
what I was. Like, it's classified but available. Well, either it's available or it's classified.
Like, if Starfleet wants to look it up, sure, there's no issue whatsoever. But if some random person goes up to a console and go, "Oh, this ship has 2 different quantum signatures. That's strange."
It's just basically like, Starfleet personnel.
Yeah.
Pretty sure quantum signatures
crew.
fade after a while when they're foreign.
That would be something for science to look up. That's a little behind my scope.
Well, yeah, classified but accessible.
That doesn't make sense.
That does not make sense.
Also, technically, classified is the highest level of secrecy. It's secret, top secret, and then classified.
Well, if we're talking American things, whatever. But
American.
in Starfleet terms, you're putting a security code, but you're just making it so it's like any security code of the crew will get it, but your average guest can't pull it up. Like, people can look up stuff like where Earth is. That's not classified information. That is stuff that Starfleet goes out of its way to tell people. That's where Earth
That's
is.
on the
Yep.
Wikipedia page.
Yeah, it's like you can just look that up. Hey, what's your shield frequency? That's classified. We're not telling you that, and very few people of the crew get to know that. Like, the only people who need to know that are security and engineering. I'm science. Why do you need to know that? It's not part of your job.
However, the idea of how shield frequencies work, well, we teach that in school.
Yeah. And before Cadet Fenn steals the ship.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I would like to see him try.
Yeah, I would love to see that attempt. But
13th threat.
you need more than that. But no, if there's nothing else to report or put forward, have fun, but turn up to your damn psych appointments.
Yes, sir.
Dismissed.
Shut off.
Rylith leaves.
I finished tinkering with a hollow emitter and put it back together and leave.
Ben, where do you head off to? Or do you do anything aboard your ship?
Well, apart from the Codex Legis Galacticae, I have lots of other things I need to read about before I do my ship requisition requests with Lesix and the Admiral.
What would that be?
I
Trying
was-
to dig into the rest of the downtime now.
well, the primary things for me would be going through the Shiri databases,
Mm-hmm.
looking for different informations on. Yeah, I'd probably have access to it from my own Ready Room. But how to describe it? obviously we have like Sunza's Art of War and different types of books with different type of things. Like generally
Uh-huh.
like for tactics. I'd like to go through different galaxies versions of those.
Whoops.
I've got two.
How much time would you like to spend doing that? How many days is the question? Because they have a lot.
Oh yeah, I'd assume they've got a lot. Because I mean, I'm gonna do the Galactic Eye over the travel, so I'm not gonna do that one yet. So I think I'll spend about 7 days at least doing that.
Okay, so reason plus security difficulty of 3, 4, 5. Difficulty 5.
Focus in strategy and tactics.
Oh, and computers plus security because you're using the computer of your ship to help you get through the files and translate them and so on. What was the question again? Sorry.
Strategy and tactics focus.
Yes.
Mental imaging kicks in because it's a reason task. So I get a free reroll. I'm gonna roll. I'll roll 6 challenge dice because I like to be funny. You get 4.
Okay.
Would you accept any traits that are available? Because I'm not going to rattle them off at you because I know that doesn't work.
Head of Clan Shishishrir will actually help you with this and bring down the diff by 1 because Shishishrir has a long history of learning about alien ways of combat and intelligence.
Sweet. And the ship is. So I gain 5 off that.
All right. Since you gave me 7 days, give me 7 challenge dice. So most of the stuff you spend the days with the help of the computer, reading through, trying to understand. You run into a lot of parallels of various species from across the universe. Some of the text you spend a couple days, and it's just, you just don't get it. Like you read it again, you check the translations, right? It is right. How does that work? You don't get it. You think about it some more. You talk to some friends back home, and man, you don't know. You know what? You're just gonna read something else. Forget it. Like there's at least 2 days where that's just straight up what you do. You're like, you know what? I'm done reading this book now. I don't get it. I'm not going to get it anytime soon. But there is one text in particular that jumps out at you, which it talks about a species very similar, like strikingly similar to the Iconians. This sort of empire where rather than moving massive fleets around, which is the standard strategy on an interstellar scale, the problem is that even with warp drives or faster light travel, short of going into warp 10, it takes a long time to get anywhere. Transwarp corridors are a thing, warp wormholes are a thing, but the ultimate thing is being able to walk through a gate. Shut up, Arlen. Walk through a gate, and be from here to there. And you just need to get somewhere and establish a gate, and you can just walk right through. Now, this other civilization had this way of building small personal gates to walk through, like a door, but also large gates that could fit a whole ship through. And so that does give you an idea of things to look for when it comes to that, how to think, even if you don't see it, how to puzzle out ship movements while also accounting for that. Because you can only build these things in certain, even at the most advanced level, they talk about how don't build this near a star of a certain type. It tends to cause, the gravity will tend to very slowly pull the gate out of alignment until eventually it's not where it's supposed to be. It's like moving a transporter pad very slowly, 1 meter at a time, and after like a decade, all of a sudden the transporter pad's nowhere near where you put it. So usually you want to anchor it either at a Lagrange point that will always kind of keep it where it is, or on a planet so you have somewhere to point at. So that does give you an idea strategically, even for a very advanced species. As long as they're working on the space-time level, they're not doing any weird hyperspace Q continuum Bajorn prophet stuff. If it's just regular old space-time, the laws of space-time apply to even the most advanced species. Things move, and even they would have to account for that. So that will give you what that means is that at some point you can create the trait that you have advanced. We'll have to think of a wording for it, but basically advanced strategic knowledge of ship movements. So that will make it easier for you to guess around stuff like that.
Would it be worthwhile if I spent for a reroll to try and get more effects?
More effects will get you more insights. Yep.
Okay. I'll spend one for a reroll.
You can roll as many as you like.
Well, yeah, considering I know I'm rolling for effects, I might as well just reroll 6.
Yeah. So some of those books you're able to. There's one book you're like, oh man. You look over it again. You even talk to some admirals and some other captains at Ranger Station trying to figure out, what am I missing? I must be missing something. And even they're like, I don't have any idea. I don't understand how cotton candy physics applies. What do you mean friendship is magic? Like, it's just such weird, off the wall bubblegum ideas that it makes no sense. But who knows what that book means? But hey, it's a book the Shiri have, one of millions. But hey. Other books you have a lot more fun with. Like with the twos, you're having very interesting reads. You're not learning anything particularly new or insightful, but they're a good time to spend your day. But that extra effect gives you another thing. The other thing is that you learn something about nanite strategies. So when applying different nanites, you kind of know this from a previous season, but different nanites can be very general purpose, but you can specialize them, much like how you specialize science officers, security officers, demolition experts, whatever. You can make nanites specialized for meat, for plant matter, for gray matters, like non-organic stuff. And there are ways that species will do that. Now, the Borg are actually doing a very simple version of nanite use compared to this text. This text talks about various other ways you can be using nanites that can have various other effects. And that gives you access to another trait that you could take, which allows you to be a little more insightful on how different nanites could be affecting your ship or could be used to affect your ship on a strategic level. Because that also helps you with stuff like planet level stuff, or even the Borg you'll have an insight on if you have that, because you'll understand how the Borg used nanites on a large scale rather than on the tactical scale. Like how they would Borgify a planet or a whole star system rather than just one person.
Yeah, that's fucking cool for me. Yeah, I'll take that.
Benefits of hyper advanced knowledge. It's not even stuff the Shiri know. They just found that. They found that text somewhere at some galaxy, somewhere in the universe. But new scene. Oh, are you back, those thing? Thralic, are you back yet?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, new scene as we go over to Andoria. Wrong thing. Hold on. There's one thing I know I can use here. Welcome to Andoria. What are you doing here?
Well, one is visiting the Wall of Heroes. Not to do anything specifically there, because she can't. But there's someone who she feels should be there and never has been able to be. So. And then after that, visiting family, actually.
Who on the wall does Thralic think should be there? I wonder.
Rather, someone who might be in there but didn't have anything carried back to be there. Her father. There was no blood to carry back. There was no anything to carry back.
You see, there are some there's a few recent additions, some family who are standing about near recent blood stains upon the Wall of Heroes. You do get a general sense that although you don't find the one you're looking for, not that you were expecting to anyway, but you do get the sense that the Alpha and Beta quadrants, although there is no great war that the Federation is fighting, the galaxy is a far more dangerous place than it was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So she'll spend some time in contemplation and remembrance. And then she's going to go speak with two of her siblings, maybe. Not one of them.
Can't take them. You must talk to them only in pairs. The only persistent pairs.
Yeah. If you want to see the basic bare bones information on that, I have Google Docs link on my bio and info thing for that. So she's going to try to talk to her younger sister, who is in the Imperial Guard, somewhere in system, probably, if not on planet. and her older brother, who is almost certainly on planet. On moon. You know. Not necessarily at the same time. And that's Tala Thralic and Shen Siren. I'll copy those.
Anything particular you're speaking with? Oops, speaking with them about?
Yes. Yes.
And I will tell you that the journey there and back takes about, just so you know how many days you can sink into this, because that does change how this trip goes. Where's my warp sheet? Hold on. There it is. It's basically 16 hours there and back. Oh, sorry, you already spent 16 hours getting here, and so it's another 16 hours to get it. Sorry. It's 8 hours to get here, it's 8 hours to get back.
So I have like almost the full leave time, actually.
The benefits of being able to get a ride on the fastest ships in the fleet.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, am I able to find both of them in on planet Earn system on short notice?
Let's try insight plus command or con, difficulty of 3, to see if you're able to find them quickly enough that they don't happen to leave system, or you can, or as you're getting there, you can say, "Hey, could you meet me at Andor?"
Yeah.
Because part of it's you guessing where they are and where you can call. Because you could call, because they could be, in theory, anywhere in the Federation, and the Federation's freaking huge.
True. Considering that I'm trying to track down one Imperial Guardsman, how about a focus in military history?
I would take that, yeah. Also, you see you have a link? I'm trying to find it.
Oh, sorry, it's on my bio and info thing, the bottom of Thralic's bio and info page of the sheet. I can also just send it to you.
Well, I see the little thing in bio and info, that blurb there.
Here.
I'm not seeing a link.
It could be that it's not showing up correctly, so here, I'll just send that to you.
I disallow all of it, no.
Okay.
Even her name, she didn't have a name either.
No names allowed. Got it. Mostly all I'm looking at here is just the family section of it. It's a very very bare bone bio thing.
I get you.
Yeah, but even that's helpful.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
So I'm going to spend a momentum. Yeah, I'm going to spend a momentum here. And use my trait of actually, would the trait Andorian help here? Of clan and family is important, and I'm back on the home world. I need to talk.
Yes, that would bring that to for sure.
All right.
Also it means you can meet anywhere in Andor, because you don't have to be in the touristy places. You can go to your home. You can meet outside. Well, not outside, but you can meet in the wilderness somewhere if you really needed to.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rolling 3. Oops.
Wow, Kobuk.
You're getting Kobuk with Insight Command 15. Yeah.
I meant to ask this ahead of time, but that's my bad. How many days would you like to sink into your interaction with them or spending time with them?
Oh, with these two, like probably a bit more of the time, actually, like 10 days.
Okay. You know what that means? Give me 10 challenge dice.
Yep.
Although for some reason Kobuk's spending time with them, but we'll figure that out.
Well, don't worry. I remember to roll the challenge dice for myself. And part of it's, just like catching up, spending time with family, but then after the basics have been addressed, she wants to talk to her siblings about what the fuck is happening with my mind right now. Why is psychic stuff happening? Did Dad ever tell either of you about this?
Shen isn't really tells you during some of the days there should be a momentum gain. Diff 3 got one more than needed, so 1 momentum gained.
It was
Shen,
lowered by 1, so.
Oh, sorry, 2. Sorry.
1+1.
Shen reports that they never knew anything about psychics, but eventually they or anything like that. But he always felt that he could get a read of the room. He always had a good instinct for what. Sometimes he'd have a sudden insight or revelation to kind of that a certain song would play better or capture the emotion that he was going for a lot better. Other times he knew to let a song go, but he always subscribed that to just good instinct, good their experience with playing music and so on helped them kind of make that call. But now that you described your experiences, they kind of get it. They're like, oh, I guess maybe that's what's been going on. Maybe it's some type of psionics. I don't know. I never thought of it being a thing like that. They've actually heard of some, now that you bring it up, they also say that some Vulcans and some other empathic or psionic species sometimes have that as well. They get a feeling for it, or they'll sense the person across from them isn't enjoying the music as much as they like, so they can kind of on the fly change the mood of the song, that sort of thing. For Tala, for her part, in a separate conversation, like give you the vagaries. They're not a sonic, they're not parapsychologists. That's not what they do. They heard of it being a thing artistically that people do on purpose. Shen's just surprised, like, oh, maybe that is a thing, or maybe it's not. I don't know. But Tala is able to tell you that in private, that the Thralic lineage has always had a higher Esper rating than most Andorians. Not quite to the level, and it's supposed that there's Anar mixing of lineages in there, but it's not like the Thralic, because of the long-standing issues the Anar have always had. It was sometimes psionics in Andorian culture can be seen as a weakness, or it lessens the rest of you. That's not actually true, but ancient Andorians didn't know that. But modern Andorians know that that's a thing. That in fact that the Thralics tended to have a good instinct about warfare. They always had a pretty good, but it never qualified for the sort of thing that Vulcans would have subscribed to, or Betazoids would have subscribed to, because they'd be looking for things like empathy or telepathy or mind melds, that sort of. They're looking for that sort of connection, whereas the Thralics focused on a very different thing. As far as the Imperial Guard's concerned, and this is something she'd rather you didn't go telling everybody outside of the family, but the short story of it is that you are not the first Thralic to have ESP. It's just that most don't talk about it because in popular culture it's frowned upon on Andor, and also tactically speaking, it's usually to your advantage for your enemies not to know you can do that, especially for an Andorian where people don't do that. So there's been a few Vulcans who have been surprised by a Thralic who had an instinct. They just had a feeling that they shouldn't do a thing or they can do a thing. And it's less. It's that sense of ESP. Now, Tala doesn't have this, but Tala knows that's a thing the Thralics have had in the past. It's something the Imperial Guard's aware of, because historically that would have come up in your history. Starfleet, the only people in Starfleet who would know about it would be if someone in Starfleet Medical looked it up, they might find it in your medical history, or someone in Starfleet Intelligence might know it because they keep track of scions for intelligence purposes.
Hi.
Because it's almost like intelligence people get a little nervy when a scion's around them. Because now they have new security procedures. And now suddenly thinking back on it, there are times when Starfleet security treated you a little differently. Like they, just in case you had ESP and you just weren't telling them, because it's without. I mean, medical tests check for ESPA ratings on a regular basis, but if you were a hostile agent, you might find ways to hide that. So, just in case, there's extra security measures that are taken around you. If you weren't of the appropriate security level. If you were, they didn't bother, because you should know it, so whatever. You get to know the same thing a Betazoid would know, so what's the difference? But yeah, as to the exact reason why the Thralic line is, that's unknown even to Tala. Tala doesn't exactly know either. That's something Tala just happens to know, and was learned that through working with the Imperial Guard. Like that's something that was brought up to them, and they're actually tested fairly regularly to see if their ESPA rating increases. And that's the thing about Thralics. The Thralics can spontaneously have an ESPA jump. Usually, your ESPA rating it's like anything else. As you get taller, you get more hormones, you build more muscle. Like over time, things change. ESPA rating you tend to have to do on. If you're a species that is sonic, it will slowly go up. Like Vulcans, it slowly goes up no matter what you do. Betazoids, it always goes up. Most species, it kind of wavers below 100. And to get it to go higher, if you're not a sonic species, you either have to go through intense training, like on Vulcan or something, have an implant put into you, which is super dangerous and not recommended by any Federation hospital, because it's you're talking about brain surgery and putting a implant in there. And machines and sonics tend not to go well together. But Thralics are one of those type of species, one of those lineages that can spontaneously have an ESPA jump to 100 and just they become sonic. So yeah. If you wish to know more about that, you'd either have to talk to people within, the Thralic line you don't know. You'd have to talk to either special military personnel within the Imperial Guard, or you'd have to go to a parapsychologist expert, either in a Vulcan or a Betazoid or, the ones that have the pheromones. I can't think what they're called at the moment. Deltans, yeah. Deltans would be some humans. Humans have a strange history with parapsychology. But they have it. And of course there is the Midnight Watch, who are a now public organization that researches such things. Though the Imperial Guard's a little wary of them, like every other security faction within the Federation, going, "Oh, you guys were like outlaws for a few years, and you're a secret society." Okay.
Yeah.
You're not being invited to the military balls, is all I'm getting at, If you're Midnight Watch.
Yeah. Just thing that I realized wasn't actually just something that I realized was written down on a separate document that isn't there. So I'm just typing something out to you.
Oh, there it is.
That one.
Oh, well, there you go. That was
Yeah,
unintentional.
yeah.
That was 100% unintentional.
Mm-hmm.
So that fits in a
I
little snugly.
yeah. You're saying that, and I was looking. I was like, wait, hold on. This part isn't written down. I need to write that down. Cool. Okay. Well, I guess it's good to know there's a history. Do you think that? No, I'm not talking to Risney. Do you think Mom would know anything else about it?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I don't really want to get broiled up in a argument about whether any of it should have happened in the first place. So, yeah. I'll see if I can find someone on World who'd know a little bit more. Maybe. I'll keep it quiet though. Don't worry.
And
Thanks for the lead.
why not? Give me insight plus security opposed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being
Either.
followed.
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Um.
The shadow knows. Just reference almost no one will get.
Who
Focus
knows what
in
evil lurks
observation.
in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
What was that, Throg?
Focus in observation.
Yes.
Right. I'm gonna spend up to 4 dice here with momentum.
Well, bully for you.
Eh?
I'm gonna buy some dice too, just to alert you. 'Cause
Yep.
I have to tell you that.
Um.
Oh, I get a free D20. That's important to know.
That. Yeah, it does seem important.
1, 2, 3. There we go.
Do any of my traits factor in here on this roll?
They all give negatives, so
As -1, 2.
even climber, you know.
Got it. Yeah, I'm just looking real suspicious yet here.
Hoplite Commander will give you 1 free hit. You have special. You know how to look for possible security threats on a regular basis. You may even be doing it not because you actually think you're in danger, but just out of habit. You're just trying to keep up your training.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wouldn't do to not be vigilant. Come on now.
Yeah, it's like I keep bothering my people. Watch out! Expect the unexpected. Well, if I don't do that, then how I expect you to do it?
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
I think that's 5 hits for Throlic.
Yep.
Spending toward a value. The ends justify the means. You have nice people following you. That's not enough. I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 4. Pretty sure that's 4. That's 4. 4 hits. No matter how I split it.
My hoplite training coming in clutch. All right, so gain 1 momentum off that.
Oh shoot! No, I just lost the token I was gonna grab.
No.
As you leave the home of Talathrolic, you're walking through the wasteland, not the wasteland, but the snows of Andor. To the uninitiated, it looks like wasteland. There's actually plenty of stuff out here if you know what you're doing. Someone is shadowing you.
Am I able to make an identification? Or do I just know that someone's following?
For a memento spend. Sorry, I was eating something the minute you asked me that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll spend it.
They have the gait and movements, one of an Andorian who knows the snows and knows how to travel across it quietly and to avoid notice. They're even wearing a certain type of winter camo that helps them blend in with the surrounding snows, with just the slightest hints of light blues, so they kind of look like there's bits of ice on them. And they know how to not come to a complete stop. They just very slowly come to a stop to kind of give that impression of blowing snow or a creature on the horizon, sort of thing. So this person's well trained, and they're either Andorian or they're Andorian trained, specifically for this planet, because it has its own unique problems that most off-worlders don't know. Yeah, that is the answer I can give you. I can tell you that no, I'll leave it there. No, you can ask additional questions if you want.
Okay. Let's see.
Or if you have no questions, what do you wish to do about this shadow you've acquired?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the best action is, actually. I think the first thing is, don't act like you've noticed that you're being tailed, generally. So what kind of area of Doria am I on? In terms of urban, rural.
You're in a rural area, a valley where where the rarest bit of vegetation does grow. Some very incredibly hardy trees grow where certain berries are collected, but either if I pointed in either direction, there'd be these massive mountains that are kind of allowing this little bit of pocket of vegetation to exist.
All right.
You do see on one high mountain, this on the tops of this mountain, sometimes there'll be a luxury place for people to have a really cool view, but most people don't bother living up on those places because they're a pain in the butt to build and they take forever to build. I mean, Federation, if you want to wait, you can have one. It's just going to take a while because it'll take time to build. Unless Starfleet intervenes, which Starfleet isn't going to intervene to help you build a beach house. The Federation has better use for their ships.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna try to lose the tail.
Oppose fitness security.
Traits. Hoplite Commander.
That will give you a hit for sure.
Trait Relentless.
Yeah.
Trait Military Family.
No, I would have to say.
Okay. Trait Climber to use the terrain to my advantage.
Yep. I'll give you another hit.
Okay. That's +3 hits. Oops, that's one too many T's. Focus in athletics.
Yep.
Then. And spending momentum for an extra die.
Okay. Can I fix this at all? I cannot. Yeah, there's... I'll roll, but this person knows they've lost you. There's no way they're gonna catch you.
Rolled a 1 and a 3 too.
That's a good roll. That's 3 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Good try though.
All right, so I've got 7 hits. I'll spend 2 to quash my comp. Sorry, buddy, you picked the wrong person to tail.
Yeah.
Nice
There's
try.
a half moment where they scramble down into the valley, and then they see you basically free climbing up the side of one of the mountain faces. And it's like one of the glaciers. Like, are they even using their ice pick? No, she's just freehanding it because she can do that. It's like, oh,
Well,
and she's not gassing. Awesome. I'm good. I'm done. I've lost them. There's no way I'm catching them. They'll get to the top, but by the time I get my climbing kit out, they're gonna be halfway up the damn glacier.
GG.
Yeah.
GG no re.
Can I spend 2 to create an advantage that I'm able to, like, seclude myself and then get some observation on my tail? Like,
you can ask me additional questions. I'll let you spend for obtain information, because you have a better vantage point to catch them as they're retreating.
All right. So in camo, or in trained, armed.
You can spend to ask that.
Yeah, I'll spend to ask that.
Type 1 phaser.
So not a hit. You don't go to murder someone with the Type 1 most of the time.
Would it be an additional question to ask if that's Andorian or Standard Federation?
I could tell you for free as part of that would have been your standard Federation Type 1 phaser. The type civilians can just get if they think they're going somewhere that's dangerous or they need it as a tool. You have to tell Starfleet that you have to tell the Federation you're replicating one, but you can totally get a Type 1 phaser if you have a good reason. Which, Andor, there's a few good reasons to have a Type 1 phaser.
I think there's more good reasons to not have a Type 1 phaser.
Yeah. There's very few worlds where Type 1 phaser wouldn't be useful. Risa, you wouldn't need one usually, for example. Earth, you'd need one. Luna, you'd need one. Like, there's reasons you'd use it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not in like a city.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in San Francisco. Can I have a Type 1 phaser? Why? To defend myself. That's what security is for. Why do you need one? Unless there's something you want to tell us. If you're in trouble, please tell us.
Yeah. All right. So Let's see. Lost the tail. Can I obtain information to like see where the tail goes?
Sure.
Like if they transport away, if they just like walk off to a vehicle, that kind of thing.
You totally could do that.
Cool. I will spend for that then.
They actually go out of their way to back off to the other mountainside and they try to find a spot where the general people can't see it, but you, unbeknownst to them, you have a good vantage point to kind of still see them, and you notice that they get transported away.
Okay. Fascinating. GM.
Yeah.
One threat. Am I still being watched?
You could spend one momentum if you wanted. But do you want to give me one threat? Or are you, sorry, are you doing an ESP or are you obtaining information?
I'm trying to ESP here if I'm still being watched.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Just not by Mark 1 eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
I mean, technically, he would be using 2 eyeballs.
Those are binoculars.
No, he's got 2 of them.
No.
I'm not going to get into it. Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to head into the nearest population center. In that case.
All right. And we cut away from you as you head to one of the cities of Andoria. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the galaxy, back at Narinder Station. Do I want to use that or that? Let's use this. Boom. New scene. Orbital music. Where are you? Well, there it is. Haha. Right. Thus, we ask, what are... Throllock's off doing something. Arlen had some fun. Let's say there. Boop. Cadet had some fun. Might still be having fun. So what are the... Well, we know Penn's done some stuff. What are Ryloff, Arlen, and Ben doing during their downtime?
Exercises. So he would know several Romulan training exercises from, his time then. Basically put those into the holodeck, but try to do them with a Federation standard instead.
All right.
Basically,
Give me
situations he's familiar with, but try to handle them in this new style.
fitness security difficulty of 2.
Fitness, security, fitness.
And how many days would you like to work on this training program?
Like 6.
6? Okay.
I'll give you threat, and I've got a. I've got several focuses potentially. I mean, small arms, paranoia, guerrilla tactics, zero
What would you
G.
What would you like to train?
Probably ends up being small arms.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be small arms and zero G is mainly, but yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, one's the focus of the program over the other.
Yeah.
You might have 0G elements, but it's mainly a small arms test. Or training regimen, rather.
but it's like, oh, where do you normally shoot them, and with what? Well, we're trying to kill them normally, so let's try not to this time.
And then even in some of the Starfleet programs, it's like, oh, well, some targets you do have to shoot to kill because it's, you're talking about that's a boulder. Please shoot to vaporize. You can't stun a boulder from crushing you.
Yep. That basically are going through his old training and trying to make sure he does not fuck up. Or let old habits. You know what I'm getting at, right?
Right, yeah.
So we'll give you a threat. Go with that. Wow, amazing. That's there we go. Far
There you
better.
go. Gained a momentum. And actually, the station does help with computers plus security. Hey, it's two extra hits. I actually critted. The computer was able to make some heuristic guesses on how to make it especially challenging for you in a way that was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some points it changes out the targets randomly on you. Like, huh? Oh, that wasn't in the program. Oh, right. I told it. Right. I remember now. Yep. You got me, computer. Damn it. But yeah. Give me 6 challenges.
Always type that weird.
So you have a pretty productive training engine. You learn a lot. You find that there's a lot of things that a lot of your training does carry over. It's only certain instances where the kill shot would demerit you, or if you would do like suggestions that you eventually learn are if I have my weapon set, if I have a disruptor and I don't have it and I can't really tune it down to stun or whatever, you do know that there are certain police tactics, as it were, to capture people, or Telshare tactics to not Telshare, but policing tactics to capture people rather than kill them. And you know that in a pinch with a Type 2 phaser, you can still do the same thing if you're trying to. If you hit a high-powered stun into someone's arm, sure, it's not a disruptor bolt. It won't hurt as much. But I don't care who you are. If you put a full blast stun into my right arm, I'm gonna be thinking about that arm for the next 5 minutes.
And probably not
that
able
hurts
to use
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that arm basically is just numb for the next while. It's like, well, that hurts like a lot, and ow, I probably dropped my gun. To that end, because you did get an effect, you can, for the next mission, if you are shooting to disarm somebody, normally I would increase that to difficulty 3. It is instead a standard difficulty 2. There's no difficulty increase to fire to disarm somebody for you. And well, that's just for getting that many hits. Like I actually counted to see if you got at least 5 in your training. You did. The effect means also that you could get a trait where that becomes a thing that that Rylop just works on all the time. He's always able to do that. A disarmer, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Or a disarm specialist. It's like, yeah, I mean, Romulan naval police tactics. Oh, just shoot them in the arm. Sure, you vaporize the arm, but the rest of them's still there. It's like, well, yeah, but R could just stun them in the arm, and it doesn't have the exact same brutal effect, but it still makes them drop the gun. And Starfleet security doesn't yell at you about it.
Mm-hmm. I have an interesting potential advantage here.
Okay.
So, he would have to put these into a holodeck as a training program before going to do them because they're not standard.
Yeah.
And, well, I imagine a lot of Romulan drills are probably okay. Here's dealing with Klingons. Here's dealing with Starfleet.
Yeah.
And he's not changing that.
Okay.
But other people in the security department, you know, go find these things, do them, and they're actually insightful to other people within the Starfleet security.
You know, I'm willing to go with you on that idea. You could create the trait for the ship for the Achilles. Because you are the chief of security. You could just tell people this is your new training regiment. I just found out something. Now you figure out what I found out. Wait, what? Don't worry. You'll either figure it out or you won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Arlen or Ven?
Let me think. Probably. Oh, I know. Ven has a project that he's been put on. There's this weird issue with the duranium.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yep.
And I think Ven needs a simple little space oddity to get his mind off of the existential dread that.
Heck, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you 2 checks. One is gonna be a fitness plus science roll. Difficulty of 3. The station will help. This is just to see if doing this working on this, you know what, you may recover some of your trauma. You find a way to kind of get back into the work and try to find some way to unpack things while you're working on something that is a fascinating thing that science officers tend to work on.
Mhm.
Of all the things you could be working on in your off time, this is actually something I think a science officer would find interesting and relaxing.
I am, if you guys don't mind too terribly, I'm going to spend 3 momentum.
You can spend whatever you like.
3 momentum.
And the station will help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully it'll help.
Oh my god. Wow.
Does it help?
Yeah, it helps. It'll help. Gives you a hit.
1. We're back to 3.
Your trauma goes down by 1. You, even though your character is going to go through his mandatory thing, his mandatory checkup. 1, they'll find out about the trauma, so that's something your CMO is going to be aware of. They'll also know about it from the other cadets. But yours happen to be a little more blunted because the next time you have it, it's like, well, how did you relax? How did you cope with it? It's like, well, I mean, sure it was homework, sure it was work, but solving puzzles is a very relaxing thing to do.
Yeah, and like, I mean, yeah, sure. When all this first happened, it was also because I was doing work, and that was scary. But I mean, I don't know, getting flung outside of the galaxy and then weird time travel stuff is kind of abnormal.
The question now becomes, how many days are you going to spend researching this anomaly that engineering has brought up? You are looking at a reason plus science roll. Difficulty, I'll bring it up to 4. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Chemistry focus?
I'm thinking.
Because this was about figuring out what the heck is wrong with this duranium.
Well, we know what's wrong with it. We're just trying to find the implications of it.
I'll take it. You could come at it from a chemistry point of view, arguably. the benefits of knowing
chemistry's
someone
a-
who studied chemistry in a university.
I mean,
so.
it's actually quite a good way to look at it.
I mean, in chemistry, it's just applied quantum physics, so
Well, let's not get crazy.
Well, quantum physics is just applied math.
In applied math, it's just applied philosophy.
philosophy.
God.
Hey, keep up and someone might apply force.
Nice.
Okay, solid. I'm gonna spend that 3 momentum again. I'm gonna re-roll that miss. It's a hit.
Oh, so you finally
And-
took cautious.
Yep. Yep, it's what I did with my arc.
Just took a whole arc to learn that lesson.
Does the station help?
Yep, it does.
So that's
So-
2, 4, 6, 7
We get
hits
3.
against a diff.
How many days are you going to sink into the puzzle?
How many days do we still have left
13.
on the leave?
1, 3.
13. For starters, just for now, I'll sink 5 days in.
Okay.
See where I am after working on it, basically for a school week, as it were.
Yeah, I get that. All right, give me that many in challenge dice. Let's see if there's any special insights
Well, hang
beyond
on.
the initial thing.
Hang on. First things first, I'm gonna roll my untapped.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
Get one. We get you get a threat. We get a bonus. Now for the 5. Sweet. And I guess we'll, if there's no resistance or anything, we'll pump that 1 into extra work. Why not?
Sure,
Or
I can
this
take it.
Is this work or is this?
It's sort of it's work without magnitude, if that makes any sense. I am looking for effects, but the more work you do, the more I'll dive into it.
Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with an effect.
So the big thing, the side benefit of all this, you look over and this is a thing that thankfully Starfleet science has looked into. It's actually a rather studied topic. Apparently various ships across Starfleet have run into this type of problem from, not necessarily from the Shiri, but like in one form or another. Starfleet has a habit of getting into weird problems that they don't quite understand and then have to learn about it within the span of an hour, you know.
You do.
It's just the thing. Sometimes 2 hours. But
if it's a 2-parter.
But you aren't able to pause. The thing that's so the good news is that various Starfleet ships have had slight quantum variances and didn't have catastrophic failures. So that confirms what Arlen kind of found out before. But now you're for sure. You now know that that's a thing that a ship can suffer that sort of variance. That sort of variance tends to correct itself over time. So eventually, this should just go away. It's eventually you correct to your current quantum reality because you interact with other things, and eventually all things go in variant in the same direction eventually if they stay in the same place long enough. That's simplifying greatly, but you get what I mean. Now, the insight here, however, is that you are able to discover that it is possible to lock in part of one of the benefits of this variance, because part of that variance is also due to the fact that you guys traveled through the galactic barrier. The Shiri hull plating they gave you, plus the crystal carbon plating, acted as a sort of extra, not a very thick bit of armor, but a nice skin that helped you slip through the quantum barrier, which, okay, maybe you're not going to be going through the quantum barrier, hopefully, anytime soon. However, similar types of barriers may be surpassed if you purposely make a trait that locks in that particular benefit of the variance. So you can let the rest of it just kind of fizzle out with time. That will just go away if you just leave it alone. So that's the good news. But you could intentionally leave some of it there. Like you could actively. There's a phrase for it. I can't think of it at the moment. But layman's terms, you can poke it into staying active. You can poke it to do a certain thing that you want it to do, without grossly manipulating the entire thing to keep doing the thing you don't want it to do.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I thought
Then
so.
to Lieutenant Arlen.
Arlen here.
I think I've cracked your geranium puzzle.
Oh, really?
Like in
Yeah.
half?
If you want, I can come to you and give you my findings.
Is it anything of tactical importance, or?
Much tactical importance, but more of there's a decision that you're probably gonna want to make, and the sooner we make it, the better we'll be able to take advantage of it.
Sure. Or I'll meet up with you tomorrow, 1000 hours.
Sure, that'll give me time to formulate these findings.
Very good.
Well, Arlen, that kind of decides how many days you'll have before you have to talk to the cadet. So you have 5 days to do what? What would you like to do? I assume something with Yolan, I would presume.
Oh yeah, something Yolan. I have a crazy idea. I'm not sure how to formulate this, and I'm kind of shooting in the dark if Yolan would be interested in this. But a murder mystery holodeck session. We book a holodeck for a day, and we are in a murder mystery house.
Sure.
And we're trying to solve the mystery before the murderer gets us.
Ooh, at the Christie.
Well, you can do that. One thing I might suggest, actually, one thing Yolan will suggest, we'll say more narratively, is that he's totally willing to do the murder mystery, and he thinks, you know what, we have so much downtime anyway. Why don't we try to take on maybe not the entire series, but try to get as deep into the novel series as you can. So you can go from one mystery to another. Instead of doing the same mystery over and over, you can try to do different ones. And also finding a murder mystery series that's actually fun. Like there's a Ferengi one about finding the female who spent your money. You know, that's not exact. Yes, that's a mystery and someone get murdered. Well, their finances were murdered. Ferengi murder mysteries are very weird. But yeah, that doesn't seem like terrible
And then
fun for you or
Cardassian,
Yolan.
everyone's guilty. Everyone did it. We just have to find
Well, you
out
know
what
who
they
the
were
guilty
guilty
guy
of.
is from the start. You just have to prove it.
Yes.
Well, that's
and make
Columbo.
sure everyone knows about it.
Well, that's Columbo.
Huh? So, he would suggest perhaps spending the next few days, cough cough, 5 days, to try to get through the series as much as you can. Part of it at a fun, part of it as a challenge.
Yeah, definitely out of the challenge. See how many mystery we can.
Murder She Hollowed, holy shit. Sorry, that's just,
wow.
Oh my god, I love that way too much.
It. Yes.
Do we actually get to congratulate the cadet on something?
It's at security difficulty 4. Yolan will be assisting you, of course, or you'll be assisting Yolan, whoever's the better on this.
I actually have a security score, so I think I'm going to be leading on this. But focus in technical insights, kind of looking at the clues and see how mechanically they could work together.
Sure, why not?
Hey, this wall panel, it's a trick wall panel. I can tell.
Man, seeing Angela Lansbury playing in a Star Trek role, come on.
Oh, well, there were like a couple. There was an episode of Murder She Wrote where they had Janeway.
Yeah, true. Yep.
Kate Mulgrew.
Yep. The plane episode, as I recall.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
insight security difficulty 4, tactical insight you could totally use.
Trait of fast thinker. Trying
Sure.
to solve these quickly.
Because these mysteries definitely would be timing you a bit. Oh, it's like the worst kind of FMV game. It'd be so awesome as a hollow. Anyway,
I know, right?
there was actually text adventure games that did that too. They would have a timer and it would go off your clock, and the longer you sat there thinking about it, time was actually ticking by.
Oh yeah, LeVar Burton was also guest starred in Murder She Wrote.
And a couple episodes, yeah. Different roles, I think.
Let's spend the 3 momentum. Let's go for it.
Was it a couple episodes? I'm thinking someone else. He was in at least one. I know that.
Oh no!
Yolan can try to assist, but I don't think you're gonna make it.
I'll grab him quick. Oh, you already did it.
I got him.
I bet you did.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spend the 5. By the time Cadet Ven gets to you, you guys have done 5 different mysteries. Oh God, these are hard. Aha, trick panel. Nope, that was actually a trick panel. It blows up. Damn it. Yolan talks to a guy, but he talked to the wrong one. He was actually the red herring. Damn it.
So many red herrings.
Or how was I supposed to know that? Why do I learn this fact in Act 3, but I couldn't have learned it in Act 1 or 2? That makes no sense. This is why you don't play Agatha Christie Hollows. But eventually you and Yolan are kind of sitting there a little dejected. It's like, no matter what mystery you did, you just couldn't figure it out. How are these this hard? Yolan's and even as Ben walks over, Yolan's still complaining about how that last mystery was so unfair. Why would the dog be the murderer? That doesn't make sense. How did the dog get the gun? Why would the dog get the gun? How do you train a dog to use a gun? Its paws can't fit in there. I don't understand.
That's why its teeth pulled the trigger.
Sir?
Yes. Sorry.
Also, the aligning of the stars has nothing to do with murdering. I don't...
Are you alright, sir?
Yes, I'm fine. Fine. The universe is just unfair, that's all.
Sir, so I have that information for you. So, as best I determined it, the variance was caused by our passes through the galactic barrier. The good news is that it's an effect that should simply dissipate over the next few days. Now normally, I'd imagine that's something that would be a little disappointing, meaning that there's no problem to fix. But I did actually find something else. It would appear that if we perform a variance lock-in method, we should be able to safely maintain a small part of the shift variance in such a way that it won't affect normal ship operations, but in a pinch, it might give us an easier time of going through similar energy barriers to the galactic barrier. Hopefully we don't have to go through another barrier like that again, but, you know, it's a nice trick to have up our sleeve. Just in case.
And that's actually a positive implication of this that I didn't consider. How difficult would it be to implement this?
You guys have to talk about that. I'm just gonna write some letters. Just Just some short letters. That's all.
Okay. Oh, and
Okay.
by the by, the dog used his tail.
But
What?
why would he use it? That's the
Cheating.
most
The
annoyed
computer's
Yolan has
cheating.
ever been. Yolan writes angry letters to the holo novelist who made that program. The holo novelist is used to this.
Now look what you've done. You made him upset. And he's going to be writing very angry letters.
Well, now he has focus for his angry letters. But
Sorry.
Focus
scene
angry
ends.
letters.
the scene ends.
So,
And we cut to a few days later. For the days you guys have left over, we're gonna bank those for future episodes that you can use. We can flash back to see what else you did. But for now, this is at the end of your time. The Achilles has disembarked from Narendra Station. Admiral Trailblazer, his back is turned to the lot of you as he enters in a particular code. He then turns. Lieutenant Shreer, you should have the proper coordinates. Aye, Admiral. Captain, we have the coordinates of at least our end destination, if not what's in between. I won't be able to give you astronavigational charts until we get close. Until we get closer to our targets. So, on your order, sir.
Well, if we've been given the all clear and we're ready to go, let's disengage from the station and get going.
Aye, sir. Moving into position. And as the Achilles is pulling away from Narendra Station, what is Arlen doing? Or what is he thinking about?
Interesting question.
Hmm.
I am trying not to mull over the ship systems. I know the ship is in good shape. It'll do her job, but there's always that engineering part of me that's nagging, and I'm trying to rationalize my way out of that nagging and get back to thinking about how monitoring the power systems and making sure that we get under warp.
What is Cadet Ven thinking about or doing at this time?
currently thinking about how, oh boy, here we go. Back out into deep space once before. The first time we did this, it was new and exciting. Now it's just as new and exciting, but also a little scary.
What is Lieutenant Ryloff thinking or doing?
Haha, I was muted.
That's an odd thought to have, but Romulans are Romulans.
Yep. Concern over potential Tel'Shiar operations close to our potential route.
What is
And
Thralic?
probably double checking that we haven't incidentally intercepted anything.
What is Thralic thinking about or doing?
Puzzling about who was watching her and why. Or thinking about it if she ended up learning anything in the days that we didn't cover.
And lastly, Captain Pend, what are you thinking about or doing as your ship prepares to warp?
Penn would be thinking between two things. One would be Jaishu, like trying to like ground himself a bit more, and the other would be the upcoming talks with the Alcarans and Aldemon, and like hopefully this doesn't escalate to something worse.
Lieutenant Schreier eventually pulls the ship into the appropriate direction. A low hum comes from the impulse from the nacelles as they prime for warp. Max cruising speed, Captain?
Yes, when ready, punch it.
And you jump to warp. Piercing into the Shackleton Expanse and to distant stars you have yet to explore or even view for the first time. And that will be the end of the episode.